Whew. That felt great. No, it didn't. It felt like a heart attack. And I got to tell you, the Toronto Raptors escaped by the skin of their chinny chin chins on two back to back blocks by Brandon Ingram first and then Scotty Barnes. There is so much to talk about in this game. If you'd like to call in, definitely call in. We will take callers towards the back end of this show. There's a lot to talk about with the box score. There's a lot to talk about with Ingram's process, RJ's finishing, Scotty's passiveness, and overall malaise on offense today. But man, it feels good to end on a game like that. I gotta tell you, blowouts are not that fun. It might be fun because it's never really at risk. But when you get down like this and the game is slipping away and they go on a 7-0 run and you just keep turning the ball over and forcing offense in the most predictable, terrible way. Scotty got blocked at the rim. RJ got blocked at the rim. RJ got blocked at the rim what feels like 10 times this game. It was a game where I had warned going into this. I did not feel good about this game. I made it publicly known. I do not feel good about this game. And by the way, I will tell you, there are a couple games like this every year where you win when you're not supposed to win. You were not supposed to win this game. I know that sounds crazy because the Raptors are significantly the better team and the Hornets moved to 4-10 and the Raptors are third in the East. But this is one of those games. It's a trap game. You play the team. You look at it. You're like, that's the Charlotte Hornets. And I got to tell you, the Charlotte Hornets are a good team. I don't know what to tell you. This is a good team. I hope you respect them after this game. They are a decent team. They are a team that plays hard. They're a team that's talented. They're long. They're athletic. Con Knipple is amazing. Ryan Cockbrenner is awesome. Sion James is really good. And Lamelo Ball is a misunderstood star who will never get his respect, regardless of the talent. And there's probably plenty of reasons for that. And the Traptors, that's a good name for what this game felt like. The Raptors rocking the City edition jerseys tonight were not good. They were not good. Their defensive process sometimes left a lot to be desired. They didn't finish at the rim nearly as well as they could. And quite frankly, the ball stuck a lot. This is not Toronto Raptors basketball. This is not Toronto Raptors basketball at all. And you faced not just the Charlotte Hornets. You faced the three Zebras tonight. You should probably just go home, get on the bus, and say, y'all, we just won 8-on-5. I have never seen a game. Okay, I don't want to say never. I haven't seen a game in 2 years for the Toronto Raptors at home, by the way, at home, where it was so obvious that the referees were biased against the Raptors. Now, I understand that I'm a Raptors podcaster, and so me saying this probably means absolutely nothing to you. That, oh, the refs are against the Raptors. It's like, yeah, conspiracy, Rob. The refs are against the Raptors. This was a WWE game, okay? This was like Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, okay? It was like they just looked at the Raptors and were like, you know what? Y'all have won a lot. Vegas needs to win some money on the line tonight. So we're just going to gift the Hornets free throws, and you are going to go into the paint, get hit across the face, get hit across the arm, get hit across the shoulder, and we're not going to call anything. How is it that Scotty Barnes attacked the rim 100 times tonight and got 0 free throws? I'm still thinking about it. How? He was so frustrated and he let it get to him. And that is something that he has to work on because he has to play through this. But man, Ingram got fouled. RJ got fouled a couple times. You know, IQ was getting fouled. Like, there's so many calls that they could have made, and they just swallowed their. This was one of the worst ref games, period. It was so bad. The calls that the Raptors did get were super soft. The ones where they were getting hammered at the rim, nothing. You know, it's just so uneven, and you complain about it, and the next time you get a call, it's just almost like they're just like trying to make it look even, but it wasn't even. Look, a foul is a foul is a foul. Okay. How many times that play where Scotty Barnes catches the air ball from Brandon Ingram, where there's a so-called shot clock malfunction, or, you know, the clock was not supposed to reset. There were 18 seconds left on the clock, I will remind you, when Barnes caught that. So then when he backs down Bridges and dunks it on him, 5 seconds had elapsed at most. So even if the ball hadn't touched the rim, it wouldn't have mattered. It didn't matter. It didn't matter that the shot clock reset or not to reset. It doesn't matter. So ultimately, you can't go back and retroactively take the basket away. That's crazy talk. Look, the refs did everything in their power to gift this game to the Hornets, and it just so happened that the Hornets shot 25% from three, and you save it on that. But let's take a look at this game, and we'll take a look at the film breakdown. And man, I got to tell you, it would feel very bad to talk bad about how the Raptors played offense tonight. But if the Raptors play like this against better teams, they will lose every game from this point on. The offensive process was not great. I did not like some of the shots that were forced at the rim. It is ridiculous. And this team needs to have a really big discussion about this. Now, look, this is not the first time I'm going to complain about the Raptors process after a win. And it feels good, by the way. Look, there are a couple times over the last couple of years, let's just be honest, as Raptor fans, that we have complained about the process, but the process that we were complaining about came in a 50-point blowout. Right now, we're going to complain about the process in a win. So don't complain that I'm complaining. It's just I'm watching basketball and I'm watching this team play, and I know how good this team is. This shouldn't have been a 2-point game, regardless of the referees. You did a good enough job. They missed enough threes that they probably should have made. This shouldn't have been a 2-point game down the stretch. You shouldn't have gone through the lulls that you did. And quite frankly, a lot of this comes down to your pecking order, your star players not grabbing the reins of the offense, not being assertive enough, Barnes being kind of like floaty around the rim. There's one play where he's just sort of underhand layups. Like, bro, are you 100 years old? Like my grandfather would have done that shot. Like, what are you doing? So look, there's a lot to talk about that's going to be good. Okay, it's good. You get a win at home. It's competitive. It was a good show. Do y'all remember? Give me a W in the chat, by the way. W's, please. If you remember in the last post game when I said, if you have a chance to go check out this game, go check it out. I am not trying to line Rogers' pocketbooks by sending you to Raptor games, but I'm telling you, this is going to be a good game, and you are going to watch a good game. Let me know. W's in the chat if you remember that one. Okay. Josh W. Yup. And you know what? If you did go, you experienced an intense atmosphere. You experienced blocks, big blocks to end the game. You experienced a heart-pounding tension down the stretch. You witnessed a couple of posters from Brandon Ingram. Yo, shout outs. This game had everything. Everything but the dominant narrative opponent. That's it. That's all you had. You had the outrage towards the referees, the crooked referees trying to game it against you. You had the mega plays down the stretch by Scotty and Brandon Ingram, your two best players. You had a couple of frustrating moments by RJ, but then you had the big, finish at the end by RJ, which kind of puts you up permanently. And you got to see Lamelo Ball, who's pretty exciting. And you got to see Con Knibble, who's probably going to be the rookie of the year. So shout outs to you if you went and watched this game. This was a good game. This was a good game. It sucked to be a Raptor fan tonight, but I'm glad we come away with the win. 50% from the field, 40% from three. That's how you won this game, by the way. Shot making. Shot making is how you won this game. You got thoroughly out rebounded. 14 offensive rebounds to your 8. 25 assists on 44 field goal made is not a recipe for a Raptors win. When this team is not at 29-35, I get worried about what went wrong. They outsteal you, they outblock you, you out turnover them. You don't get as many fast break points as you typically do because your fast break process often results in getting blocked at the rim. Tough. You led by as many as 12. They led by 2 down the stretch. If you want to take a look at how close this game really was, for the most part, it wasn't really that close. 49-42, right? You're getting down here, you're getting down here, you're getting down here. It's not that close. It's not that close. It's pretty close. But you managed to keep that sort of 6-point cushion. It got like really close, like right here, 85-85. And you're like, uh-oh, we're in a game. Uh-oh. And then right around here, they just go on a crazy run. And it is 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, mind you. 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And you're panicking. You're panicking if you're a Raptor fan. And then they go up 108-106. And it's a minute and 23 seconds to go. And the momentum is swinging their way. And you're like, uh-oh, we might actually lose this game. And thankfully, you get a tie. Big dunk by Scotty Barnes. Big finish by RJ Barrett. And you come out with a victory. Let's take a look at the box score real quick. We are at a tie game in Chicago, Denver. Unbelievable. Anything can happen in the NBA, man. We just watched 3 overtime games yesterday, 3 overtime games. Everything is getting close and close. It's hard to believe this is happening, like, really happening. It's almost like it's almost like the league called the referees and we're like, "We need drama, intrigue, and corruption. Can you oblige?" "Yeah, sure we can. We have new, media partners. They want exciting games." You got to take a look, for the first time at Ryan Kalkbrenner, which was very interesting. 7 points, 10 rebounds for the Creighton big man, and, he was a load inside, if I'm being honest. He did a pretty good job at deterring the Raptors, but it didn't do a good job of deterring Brandon Ingram, who postered him twice. Uh, Kind of a quiet 22 from Miles Bridges on 22 shot attempts. Not the most impressive game, but overall kind of kept him in it. Lamelo Ball, another kind of quiet game. Very inefficient. Couple of step back. 3 pointers off of that. Not really a fan of that shot, but 6 for 19 from the field. And Con Knipple, the star rookie, leads all scorers again. He has been leading them in scoring quite a bit. 24 points for him, 3 steals, and seven rebounds. Scotty went at him a couple times in the second quarter, but you know what? He held his own. He really did. There was a play where Scotty seals early and they try to get him the ball and he just tips it away. That was a Jacoby Walter pass. So, shout outs to Con Knipple. He's going to be a really good one. Off the bench, you get Colin Sexton with 17 points in 28 minutes. He was, he provided a lot, right? He provided a lot off the bench for them. Stable. And if the Raptors are ever looking, quite frankly, to maybe, I don't know, shift gears at some point, this might be a player that you might want to look at, Colin Sexton. Not saying you necessarily need it because Jamal Shed is balling out of his mind, but this might be a player that you look at. Just really, just he's a good player. Moving on to the Raptors tonight. You got 27 points on 21 shots from Brandon Ingram. 3 blocks was probably my favorite part of his night. His defensive activity was so inspiring. Just really good defense, really troubling at times offense. Like he was very assertive, but very ball dominant. I didn't love this game from RJ Barrett. 7 for 16 from the field, 1 for 4 from three, 1 for 3 from the line. Just kind of felt forced a lot. Felt like he was pressing a lot. It really just didn't feel like he had it tonight, and I didn't love it. I just did not love this game from RJ Barrett overall. Sum total, it just left a lot to be desired for me. Scotty Barnes, I didn't love this game either. Offensively, I didn't really love it. Defensively, I think he had a lot more juice tonight. 2 blocks, including the game-winning block. Really, because if he doesn't get that block, you're going to overtime, and who knows what happens there. But, floating in and out, once again, we go into a first quarter where he doesn't take a shot, goes crazy to start the second quarter, complaining to the refs, has some sort of phantom, elbow injury at some point. Then he just rams it down. One time he gets blocked at the rim. The very next time he goes down and he just takes it strong, right? Takes it strong to the basket. And it's just like, yo, you could do that every time down the court. What are you doing? The best part of Scotty's game, in my opinion, was the 6 assists, a lot of which went to Jakob Poeltl. He was the only guy who consistently found Yak tonight. And, another double-digit scoring game from Jakob Poeltl where he was relatively positive. 13 points and 9 rebounds for Jakob Poeltl, 0 blocks. And, you could say you matched the production of the second round rookie with that. I didn't hate this game from Emmanuel Quickly either, to be honest. He got on the glass. A lot of those were uncontested defensive rebounds, but a couple of them were actually contested defensive rebounds. He just made a point to push and transition. Didn't make as many of his threes tonight. Went 3 for 8 from 3. Missed a couple of transition threes, but overall, loved the floater range stuff. Haven't seen him go to his floater as much as he's been focusing, trying to get all the way to the rim, but great overall process. You don't get that heroic, crazy performance from Colin Murray Boyles or Sandro Mamukelashvili tonight, but I think both provided solid minutes. Jamal Shed, again, typically a little bit better than he was tonight. Overall, I think he was okay. Grady Dick provided good minutes. Overall, I don't think he got hunted, right? But this, to me, as Daryl was saying in the chat, this felt like a kind of vintage Emmanuel Quickly game, right? A lot of floater range stuff, a lot of that stuff. And you know what? That's good. Get back to that a little bit. The floater hasn't really been falling for him in Toronto. Jacoby Walter gets the pretty quick hook after 4 minutes and his one turnover. The process of the offense really, it came down to turnovers to start and turnovers to end for Brandon Ingram. Just a lot of not seeing the help, not reading the help, kind of just forcing things. We'll take a look at that as we look at our film breakdown. But yeah, I'm wondering how you guys are feeling. Like, how do you guys feel about this game? Did this feel like a little needlessly stressful for you, or was this a game where you were like, we're chilling tonight, we're good, like we're totally fine in this game. Let's take a look at this. The Bulls have pulled ahead, by the way, for anyone who is tracking that game. The Bulls were up like 20 points in the first half. Nuggets closed the gap in the second quarter, and then now suddenly the Bulls are up mega large again by 9. So just keeping an eye on that game. Okay. Okay, this was the first play. This is Brandon Ingram's first place. You knew that his legs were feeling really good tonight. Puts Sion James on his hip. Jakob Poeltl does a great job of kind of shielding what looks like the foot taller Ryan Cockbrenner. Like, really, he's just doing such a great job. And here, Cockbrenner still recovers, but not in time. And Ingram just yams it on him. Big, big play for Brandon Ingram. Shout outs to BI on that one. I said, I don't feel good about this game at all. Everything one and done, Scotty drifting, defensive step slow despite two early blocks. This Hornets team deserves your attention. They're sneaky. And I think that proved to be true, right? Now, if you want to look at some good offense tonight, here's some good offense tonight. And this, of course, came with one of the transition lineups because those are the only lineups that can do anything for this team. And it's always these transition lineups, these transitionary lineups, if you want to call them, that end up like actually doing positive stuff for the Raptors. Generally speaking, like these are the lineups that you typically see the best basketball with, right? It's usually with Sandro, with Jamal, with Grady on the court. Here, you run a dribble handoff with Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram drives downhill. And here, instead of forcing the shot, which is what he did pretty much all night, he was more of a willing passer here. And even if passing was sort of a final resort here because his driving lane gets clogged off, I got no problem with it. Moussa Diabate is a pretty good rim protector. Forcing that shot over him would have been, quite frankly, a bad idea. And honestly, I'm starting to think that the Raptors forced so many shots at the rim. If I was Darko Rajakovic right now, I would start actually imposing, not fines, but I would start like looking at these plays and just telling my team, guys, these are turnovers. Just start calling these what they are because they are basically turnovers at this point. Moving forward here, Emmanuel quickly just keeps his dribble alive long enough, picks it up, passes to Scotty, and Scotty does not need more than a millisecond to make this pass to Sandro Mamukelashvili. And here you have one more play, and this time it's Grady on a catch from, I believe that was Jamal Shetter, Colmer was. And here he just passes it out to Mamukelashvili. He has all the time in the world to make that shot. This is when the Raptors offense is doing well, right? When they take the time to shift the defense, when they take the time to move ball top side, and just throw the skip ahead, try to force a paint, get a paint touch, kick it out to the corner, and you have the talent to do it. Quickly, Barrett, Barnes, like all these guys, like they can Ingram, like they can force the defense to collapse middle. Like you can do this, right? So it's just baffling when they decide to go into the isolation basketball. Okay, here, one of 3 plays where Scotty just gets very hella assertive. Here, just dealing with trying to make this pass to Jakob Poeltl. It gets poked away. Yak pokes it back. Scotty gets around the defender here, Pat Connaughton, and just puts it up. I mean, the second unit really should have been the strength of this game. I said Grady with a dime here, man. Like, this is great. Like, when we say Grady is more than just a shooter, this is the theory of Grady Dick, right? Now, the reality of Grady Dick is something completely different, but the theory of Grady Dick is that you are looking at a player who can dribble, pass, shoot. Now, here's an interesting graphic that the Raptors broadcast, put on the screen, middle of the game, and this was interesting, right? This was really interesting to see that, like, this is where Scotty is in terms of his career: 5,000 career points, 2,000 rebounds, 500 stocks, fewest games since 1973-74. He did it in as many games as Charles Barkley, and it's ironic because Barkley might be his biggest fan, and it's interesting. So, dope and W Scotty, right? I said Khan just took it to RJ. Impressive. Sorry, Shannon. Cover your eyes. Okay. So here, RJ kind of gets stuck on this little Sion James misdirection here. And Khan Knipple is just going right into his body, takes that, slow step, and then is able to finish right through contact on Jakob Pertl. Honestly, is that a foul? Could we make a case that that's a foul? 100% that's a foul. That is 100% a foul, and you get away with it because he's a rookie. You won't get away with that next year, I promise you. Okay. I said three things are guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and what happens next here. So Scotty does a great job of forcing the inbounder, who here is Lamelo Ball, into making a very, very tough pass. Lamelo, and here Brandon Ingram does what he did all night, which is just be explosive on the defensive end. He sat in the gaps really well. He shot blocked really well. He was just awesome. Like, Ingram was just so good defensively. I really don't, I can't say enough good things about Brandon Ingram defensively in this game. Like, he was awesome. So Ingram pokes this ball away. And of course, guess who it goes to? Uh-oh. And here's RJ Barrett smoking a layup. Didn't get blocked that time. Just poor finishing. Okay. I said, I can't look. Tell me what happened. So let me mute this for a sec. Scotty Barnes, as if he did not learn from the last one. RJ Barrett. Like, come on, man. That's an open layup. He does this once every 2 games where he just smokes wide open layups. I said keys to the win: cut down turnovers. Here's a look at some of the turnovers that the Raptors had during this game in the first half. Here, Brandon Ingram tries to throw this pass to Jamal Shed. Terrible idea. The defender is sitting right there. What are you doing? Here, Ingram throws the soft ass pass to RJ Barrett, and it gets picked off right away by Miles Bridges, who is no OG Anunoby. And it results in a wide open dunk. So many of the Raptors' miscues tonight resulted in wide open threes and wide open dunks on the other end. Here, Jamal Shed tries to get this pass up to Colin Murray-Boyles. It gets picked off by Con Knipple. And here, the simple dribble handoff gets picked off. And once again, you're going the other way. And you just allow them to sit in the game. Here, Jacoby Walter projects this pass. Scotty thinks he has Con Knipple sealed, but of course, the pass is a little bit off target, and here come 2 Hornet defenders. And it's just over and over that the Raptors just did not execute well on their passes tonight. I said, these are basically turnovers, so we are clear. And I mean it. These are basically turnovers. If we're being honest, this is a turnover. Okay? This is a turnover. You have no chance of making the shot. You are almost underneath the basket when you are releasing it. Like, what is the theory here? Is this a good shot? Like, do you not see the second defender? Do you not care about the second defender? Is it like, I don't want to pass out to a wide open Emmanuel Quickly who's right here and, reset the offense? Like, why do you do this? Is this such a terrible angle to take a shot? And why are you fading away? Like, you're supposed to be a player who takes contact. Like, I'm tired of like complaining about this with Scotty, but like RJ does it too, where he just kind of floats away from contact. No, take the contact, man. Okay. Here, Grady trying to front Musa Diabate. And here, he has no chance of fronting Musa Diabate. He doesn't even jump. But you know who does jump? His teammate, Jamal Shed. Perfect. Teamwork makes the dream work, man. Jamal Shed is such a pesky defender. And here, I said close game. But the Barnes to Jakob connection is working wonders in the fourth. This team plays best through Scotty. Why they do it 4 to 5 minutes in every single game is anyone's guess. And it's true. There were two points in this game, one in the fourth, one in the second, where they explicitly went through Scotty in the post, and it just kept working. In the first half, he consistently went to the rim, and it was a 10-0 run right away for the Raptors. And in the second half, despite the disaster that would be to come in the later fourth quarter with him on the court, it was just passes to Jakob Poeltl and passes to the corner. It was great. I said, great floater in transition, Immanuel Quickley. This is totally vintage Immanuel Quickley. And again, Immanuel Quickley has turned a corner in a season. Here, you're going up against a shot blocker, right? The floater is the defense against the shot blocker. Now, IQ had one of his threes blocked by Ryan Kalkbrenner. He does not need any reminders in terms of how good Ryan Kalkbrenner is at blocking shots. He is very good at blocking shots, and I think that this is a perfect deterrent to that shot blocking. Right? Perfect. As Dwight Schrute would say, Perfektenschlag. Okay, I said finish strong, Scotty. This is ridiculous. You are too big, too strong. Now, right here, you gather, step through, and finish to the right hand. Instead, you're going right into the shot blocker and finessing it. And you're going away from contact. Now, that was the wrong play. I said that was a finish strong. There is a play where he doesn't finish strong. Toronto is in a 1-point game with 3 minutes to go. The process has been horrendous, and Ingram, despite some big-time plays and great defensive effort, has been really forcing things. So here, there's something better here for the Raptors, basically, right? If you're Brandon Ingram, attack, go downhill, make them stop you. Instead, you stop short, you think about this, nothing is happening here. So you do the sort of lazy thing, which is just pass to Immanuel Quickley. You are 4-on-1. This cannot be the shot you come up with. You have to know time and space. Like, I understand Immanuel Quickley taking threes in transition is a good thing. But when the defense is back, not when you are 4-on-2. Okay? And this happens way too much. You hit front rim, right? This is bad process. And you know what? Ingram's a good passer. This has been not a great passing season for him so far. I said block party. Damn. Here goes RJ Barrett right into traffic. No regard for human life. No regard for my eyeballs. Boom. Blocked. And don't worry. Here comes the Scotty play. Pass here. Right here. Or don't pass at all and just go through. This is not enough distance to make this pass. Now, if he does pass to Scotty, he's on a very weird angle. And this right here is a terrible finish attempt by Scotty. You are flat-footed. This shot has no chance. Do you not see Moussa Diabate right there? He is a shot blocker. You need to know the scouting report. Moussa is coming right into this play. You do not have a chance of making the shot. Honestly, if Moussa Diabate doesn't block it, don't look around for the foul. That's a terrible shot. That's a terrible attempt. And you know what? Leave it to Immanuel Quickley. He'll give it to him at the last moment. It's on both of them there. Absolutely. Now, Ingram, airball. Okay? Right here. This is what I want. Grab the ball. Don't pass it out. I was like, don't pass it out. I'm screaming at the television. Don't pass it out. Pound. Help doesn't come. Get underneath the basket and just dunk this. Right? Don't need to be cute about this. Nope, not that one. So first, we get this wide open dunk. Lamelo Ball creates an open dunk for Ryan Kalkbrenner. The Raptors are up 2, and this would be the tie. And what happens? Ingram is very lucky. He does not get called for the hand on the back. Very lucky. by the way. Just want to throw that out there because watching this from the slow motion, these referees being terrible actually benefited you a couple times as well. And here, with the game on the line, Miles Bridges takes a jump shot to put this game to overtime. And here, the rebound gets away from Ingram and Yak and falls right into the hands of Miles Bridges. And what happens? Scotty says, and we get zeros on the clock, and that is over. Okay? Who is hating? Who is hating? Nobody's hating. Okay, we got Jay calling in. So we got a caller in here, Jay. Okay, Jay, what's up?
What's up, Rob? What you saying, man?
What's good, man?
Just chilling, checking out the game. Finally, Raptors are getting it together, right? After a tough season last year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Scotty killing it at the end, eh? Sick block, and then Bi with that dunk. Holy, crazy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, uh, just about it. That's what I'm trying to say. Still, like enjoying the game, enjoying the Raps getting back on track. Like the addition of Mamu and Bi is really showing, and like the continuity. Yak getting his back healthy again. Just just want to see them, go through a little bit of adversity though, because like things everything's going good, everybody's gelling, but it's a long season, right? And everybody's the team's healthy right now, so we'll see what happens like when they go through a little bit of a injury bug,
You don't
God
think they've
forbid.
gone through enough adversity yet,
Yeah,
basically.
like last season, like I mean, like how this team is currently constructed, like right, because like they didn't play that much last year, so
Right.
I just feel like this team as currently constructed, I feel like they gotta face a little bit of adversity to like I don't know, get to that next level, get better, and then we can see what what the product is, right? The finished product.
Sure. Yeah. I think this team faced a little bit of adversity early with, the 1-4 start, Jakob Pertl being injured, having to start a 6'7" Scotty Barnes, right? Missing a lot of shots, and Emmanuel quickly slow start. A lot of your shooters missing shots, But yeah, you're right. Like I think they've had a tough schedule ish. They had to go out on the road in Texas. That was tough, right? So I think if we're being honest, this team has faced about as much adversity as a lot of teams have, right? Obviously, they're not facing as much adversity as the Indiana Pacers, but nobody wishes
Yeah.
that much adversity on anybody.
No, hell no.
Yeah. What'd you think of Brandon Ingram tonight?
Yo, he's fire, man. I love the what he's doing. I can't, like you always see him like do his thing. Like I remember he was with the Lakers, right?
Hmm.
Lakers, then Pelicans, right? He was really gifted then, and I just seen him like as a gifted scorer. I never knew he had any defensive tendencies in him, and like blocking shots and like getting in the passing lanes. And like I don't know, you mentioned that he can pass. I really haven't seen that from him, but I'm looking forward to see that. Like, cause like I guess he's also trying to get to know his teammates and their places and stuff like that. So
Sure.
yeah, he's killing it. Like when we need a bucket, it's that used to happen like the droughts last year. Oh my goodness graciousness! Like, and now like you have somebody that can just score at will. Like that's big, and I'm really glad for that signing. I'm glad he decided to stay. Right, you know nobody wants to stay up north, and yeah, everything is different, man. Like the only thing, RJ, like okay, so I see the hate that RJ's getting, and like deservingly so, right? But like he is a Raptor, and he did get us that clutch bucket near the end, right? So sometimes he does his thing, right? But like, yeah, some of the decision making that you noticed, that you showed us, yeah, it's just like yo, that one play where he got blocked, almost got blocked by two guys. His homeboy back there was open for a three. He's just like that court vision is not there. I don't know if like I don't know, Scotty can smack some sense into him during practice and be like, yo, open your eyes, look around, like like but I feel like he can get better too, right? he's maybe not at his prime yet.
Sure.
So you're not buying it,
I'm really not. No. I mean,
eh?
in a lot of ways, he is in his prime. Like, this is supposed to
Okay.
be his prime. He's 26 years old. He's a youth prodigy prospect. He's not a player that I expect to get substantially better in any meaningful way. His jump shooting form is not going to change. His athleticism is not going to change drastically. And this honestly feels a lot like the conversations we used to have about DeMar DeRozan, right?
Oh
Is
boy.
DeMar DeRozan going to become a better defender? Is DeMar DeRozan going to become a better defender? And it's like, did he? Did he really? I mean, he's been a bad defender his whole career. So, you know, it's not like something where I'm gonna hold my breath and be like, yeah, like this is something that's really gonna, you know, I don't get it.
Yeah, I keep hearing that they want to trade him just based on like he's trying to get a payday, but like um I don't know how he's gonna justify that. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Emmanuel, like I can see Emmanuel his worth. Like I see what he can brings to the table. He's like a defensive guard. He's got that offense. I mean, he kind of reminds me a little bit of what's his name? Bet on yourself. What's his name? Oh my
Fred
goodness.
VanVleet.
Yeah, in the sense where like he's always looking for his own shot, right? But I never seen Fred VanVleet's passing really get any more like than average throughout his career. So his game in that sense reminds me of Fred VanVleet, only in the sense where he's only looking for his own shot. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I see they're trying to develop him differently here in Toronto to get him to
Sure.
pass first. But Shed is, oh man, Shed. Oof. I remember, I don't know if it was Jack Armstrong saying that he kind of has the feel of Lowry out there. So I don't know if he keeps developing like that.
He really does. He really does. He has a lot of Lowryisms in him, and I think he is just that talented. Like, I think Jamal Shed is, maybe he's not quite the defender that Lowry was. He's not quite the athlete Lowry was, but I think he'll get. I don't know if he'll get to Lowry levels, but he's definitely going to be one of the better backup guards in the league, and I really enjoy watching Jamal Shed play basketball. He's great.
Yeah, yeah, straight up. All right, Rob. Thank you for taking
All
my
right,
call.
thank you, man. Peace. If you'd like to call in, here is the link in the description right here. And also, it is on the chat. So if you'd like to call in, you can definitely call in. I think, this constant repetitive conversation that we have about RJ Barrett and his fit on this team is nauseating. Quite frankly, it is exhausting. If you think he's great, shout outs to you. I don't. I don't think he's great. I think he's a limited jump shooter. I think he's a limited finisher, and I think he's a perfectly average starter in the NBA. And I think if you think Brandon Ingram played a great game today, I would agree with you. As long as we're talking about defense, we're talking about defense. Uh, Shannon saying, "I'm going to do you guys a favor and stop coming to this weird channel." Okay, Shannon. So here's what we're gonna do. Okay, we are going to ban you. Bye bye. Thank you for calling in. Appreciate you. It was very nice to meet you. But, you know, it's very narcissistic to get into a habit of becoming the point of subject every single chat. You are not on the Toronto Raptors. So I don't understand why your name comes up more than the Toronto Raptors themselves. It's actually really weird. And I think it is because you get off on trying to go 1 on 400 every single night. And I don't know if this is a personal crusade you have or whatever, but honestly, I don't need to hear this. And this like, oh, it's weird channel. This is a Scotty channel. You know what? That's cool, man. Let me do you a favor that I wish that people had done to me when I would like be like sitting there hating on a forum. You know what? Sometimes you need to peace out. Hello and Welcome does a great podcast for you'll find a lot more consensus there. Although I will let you know that even that chat is maybe a little bit more bearish towards RJ than you are. So maybe you can find a new community there. Shout outs to you, Shannon. No disrespect at all intended. Very polite, exit there. Okay. So once again, this is the calling link. Look, man, I think this team plays down to its competition sometimes. They did it against the Nets. And when you do that too often, you will get burned. Like, just straight up, you're going to get burned. If you do that way too often, you get burned. And I think right now the Denver Nuggets are in a dogfight game against the Chicago Bulls. They're finding that out the hard way. Okay. So maybe they'll eke it out, maybe they'll win, but anyone can lose to anyone, and you have to develop a consistency of habits. This is how we play basketball. Okay, if you want to be the San Antonio Spurs, you want to be like the OKC Thunder. I will remind you that the Toronto Raptors were absolutely a horseshit team last year. They were not a good team. They were not threatening anybody. Nobody got up to play this team. There were no all stars on this team. There was no max players, on this team last year. There was no Siakam. There was no championships. There was nothing on the line. There was no messages to be sent. And the OKC Thunder came in here and whooped us so badly, it hurt my heart. It hurt my heart to watch it. It was like embarrassing. It felt like I was watching a JV team go up against a collegiate team. And that's when I knew. I mean, I had suspected all year that the OKC Thunder were a serious championship contender, but that's when I knew for sure that they were a championship contender, because that level of professional effort is not required to beat a team like the Toronto Raptors. And they beat us so bad, it almost resulted in, like, it almost felt like the entire team had an existential crisis right after. Like, are we really an NBA team? Is this the meaning of life? Like, that's what it felt like last year. That team, Scotty couldn't dribble in that game. Grady couldn't move, you know? And it was a good test. It was a good learning lesson, but it was also wonderful to see in person what a championship team plays like. And you know what? There's a lot to be said about Brandon Ingram. It's a good thing that his three is starting to fall a little bit. That will open up his game a lot. He is a great scorer, but there's a limit to how much of that is required of him. When and where sometimes can be dicey to pick out, right? So, yeah, like, I mean, who really had a great game for the Toronto Raptors tonight? That's really, like, that's debatable. Like, did someone have a great game for the Raptors tonight? Not really. There was no individual greatness tonight. It was a team win. It was collective. Some players played better than others. You could say Grady. I think Grady was good tonight. It was definitely good. Definitely. Reed Vega saying it was required tonight. Scotty had nothing. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Oh my God, Andrew. Ban. Fuck out of here. So many trolls. My God. So many trolls. Anyway, Kingram. Yeah. So look, I mean, he's getting back into it, right? He did take a large portion off, right? Last year, right? Reed Vega, offensively, bro, Scotty wasn't good. Did I say he was good? No, no, he wasn't that good. He wasn't that good tonight. He had stints, he had moments. He showed up when it mattered, and he got you the game-winning block. Shout outs to him. Brandon Ingram, mixed bag, but he played defense. He sat in the gaps. There's so many plays with Ingram that I ended up recording, but I didn't end up showing. Um, okay, Jesus Christ. We need to stop this. The trolling needs to stop. It's ridiculous. So overall, I think Ingram is extremely important in terms of drawing attention off of everybody else, right? In terms of getting everybody involved, this stuff will come, I think, at some point. Like, at some point, I think that Brandon Ingram will figure it out, will figure out his teammates, where they like to have the ball. He'll stop pressing a little bit. I've noticed in home games, especially, he feels like an extreme pressure to put on a show for the home fans. And it's extremely, like, it can sometimes result in losing, right? I wouldn't be surprised if I looked at his home away splits and just found that he was just way, way, way more assertive offensively in terms of taking shots at home. So, yeah. Barnes equals Hallie, Ingram equals Siakam. Well, no, that's not necessarily a fair comparison either, but sure. Because Scotty doesn't have the ball anywhere near as much as, Halliburton, and it's a very different context of that. And quite frankly, like, it also matters that Halliburton is a very good pull-up jump shooter, right? Wale Sunny. Penn Ingram played better offense and defense than Scotty tonight. Sometimes you just have to let people say what they want to say. I think Scotty was pretty good defensively tonight. But sure, absolutely. Um, this is getting ridiculous. Can the moderators handle this? Can you guys start banning all these users? I don't know who has time to do this, but cool. Congratulations to the people who have time to do this. Let's get to some super chats here. We had the homie Nicked with a super chat. What an awesome win. The Hornets gave our guys everything they had, and the Raptors gutted out one, even when they weren't there at their best. Nice to see big time players coming up big at the end. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, hangover games happen. I am reminding you that the 96 Chicago Bulls lost handily, by the way, to the Toronto Raptors, the expansion era Raptors. So it does happen where some nights you just don't have it. You don't have it. And the first night back from a long road trip, feeling good about yourself, it can happen. You can have dead legs, you can have a lack of focus. I don't think Scotty looked all that alert today, if I'm being honest. He just didn't look great. And when you come out with that sort of like malaise, it can really, really carry forward. It can really carry forward. And you can end up in a trap game where you end up losing. So once again, you win a game, right? You win a game that you did not play great. And that is going to happen. OKC does not play great every night. I'm pretty sure Denver may end up winning this game, and they have not played great. They have been bad defensively. I was watching a little bit of that game as well. So it's just a tough one. But to me, the most encouraging thing right now is if you're looking at this from a team building perspective, Brandon Ingram has shown you all year that he's willing to crash the glass, that he's willing to get in the passing lanes, that he's willing to scheme and protect. And look, I take an intense amount of pride at taking people at their face value. When they say they're going to do something, I actually think that it matters that they actually do it. And Ingram said, in the summer league that he is going to make a really strong effort to be good defender because, he sees how this team is playing and he doesn't want to mess it up. And I don't think he's messed it up. In fact, I think he's adding to it. I think he is so much better defensively than Grady Dick, and it has implemented like a great improvement for the starters, right? So, what is going on? Championship teams are built with players that can come through. Agreed. Absolutely. We have a new member. Shout outs to Kasser uh, Reciposcolo. Thank you so much for welcome to member. Shout out to you. And speaking of member, we got a couple member chaps. Raps 416 said, "Fuck the trap game. The North remembers, and we back." Grady Dick won his minutes again every game. Yes, Grady has been winning his minutes. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Tariq and AG, you may get the mod call at some point. We got to start making, what we're going to do? We're probably going to make our VIP members moderators as well, so they can handle some of this as well and have a little bit more control and a few more perks. But shout outs to this community. But yes, look, it matters a lot to me that Brandon Ingram has participated the way he has on defense. Like legitimately, he has been very impressive in this light. And you know what? Like you take a look at what he did last year in New Orleans, and you take a look at some of the years he's had in New Orleans where he's put up 24 points, 25 points, 6 assists. This is all in his game. One thing that has always left a lot to be desired, for me at least, with him, has always been his defensive consistency, his defensive motor, his defensive awareness, his sleeping off the ball. This is the kind of stuff that you need to do to win. You need to win basketball games. And it really matters, right? It really matters to me that your $40 million max player, borderline max player, is not a defensive liability. He's holding his own, and he's never going to be as aggressively bad defensively as someone like Trae Young, Shaden Sharp, or frankly, RJ Barrett. He has way too much size. Grady Dick, even like that mammoth 7'3" wingspan that he is able to use. He has like underrated explosiveness. And now we're seeing some of that explosiveness come out as well. So it's been really good to see overall. It's been really good to see from him. And yeah, man, this is great. We got another super chat here. Third seed and rising. That's all. Salute Rob and the chat. Absolutely, man. We are We are absolutely rising. Okay, let's take a look at the standings real quick. Get this off. So we are officially 3rd seed. So here we are. We are 3rd. We are tied with the Atlanta Hawks. Both teams, by the way, the Raptors winners of 4 straight, the Hawks winners of 5 straight, are 8-2 over their last little bit here. Did the Hawks win tonight? Oh man, and the Sixers ended up winning tonight. Giannis ended up getting hurt, by the way. I just want to let y'all know that. So that happened. That was announced during the broadcast. So that's really interesting. Giannis ends up getting hurt. So the Milwaukee Bucks, who were just kind of like ahead of the Raptors for a little bit there, and it was a really weird world to exist in. They are now 8-7 and possibly could free fall a little bit. They also, among the 10 teams up here, have a negative point differential, largely because they've been blown out a few times and largely because of that loss to the Raptors that they took, where they did get blown out. So this is just a really, really tough outing for them because they're just right teetering here. And the Bulls are climbing, after losing a bunch straight. Josh Giddey is back. Here they are on the road against Denver, and they're up 1 in the 4th quarter. So maybe they pull that one out. That would be a crazy result. They walked in not at all favored to be close in this game. They lost a really, really devastating one last night, and they're on the back to back. So this would be a gutsy win for the Bulls if they can pull it out, and a huge loss for the Denver Nuggets, who are, trying to climb in the Western Conference. But yeah, the Detroit Pistons won tonight without Cade Cunningham. They are 12-2 atop the conference, and the Raptors are a win away from tying the Cleveland Cavaliers for a second best record in the conference. I mean, we really have to talk about the Toronto Raptors, don't we? Like, we legitimately have to talk about the Toronto Raptors being like a home court playoff team, and that to me raises the bar of critique. Right. We talked about it a lot in last game's post game, where we talked about this like need to play at a certain standard of basketball. So uh Daryl's saying Jalen Duren might win MIP this year. Absolutely, he might. He's been great. He has been great. Calf sprain for Giannis. PC was dissing the Raptors last time I tapped in. Yeah, they make a regular habit of that. Unfortunately, they do that a lot, which is sad, but they do. So, yeah. Okay. I don't know. Wemby calf. Oh no. No, 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 no. Wemby calf sprain? Oh, damn. That's a bummer. Well, I'm going to be on Player's Choice tomorrow as well. Do we have any other callers? There are 560 people in here. Would anyone else like to call in? I'm going to put the link in the description here as well. Giannis has got a groin injury. Absolutely. Also, if you did not check this video out, I highly suggest you check out this video right here. We did a video today, and it was with our guy, Ersin Demir, and it was a nice little breakdown of Jamal Shed, Colin Murray Boyle, specifically those two guys. And we got a nice look at, what's going on with the Toronto Raptors, what's going on with this 2021 draft class, sorry, the 2025 draft class and the 2026 draft class. So that is a really great one. How are the Pistons #1 seed? They are a fantastic defense. That is how they are #1 seed, quite frankly. Wale Sani saying, great video. Check it out, guys. Absolutely, man. Shout out to Erison for coming on, man. That was amazing. Yeah. Daryl Jenkins on a Linsanity run. He really is. Like, he legitimately is. Like, he is going crazy. He's going absolutely nuts, right? Like, he has been so insanely good for them off the bench. It's truly like I had to do a double check. Like, where the hell did he come from? Is there any media post games interviews up yet? Hang on, let me just double check. That is a good point. Don't comment, Darko. Save your money. Save your money. Okay, let's see if Darko's post game is up yet. There is a website that often uploads it a little bit early, but I don't think we've got it up yet. So if you are, oh, nope, that was from 2 days ago. So no, we're not going to get it. Well, let's take a look real quick at the Raptors official schedule coming up. And the official schedule coming up is, hang on one sec. So the Raptors next play, I should have the schedule completely memorized. Their next game is against Philadelphia. They just got Paul George back, so that should be fun. Wednesday, November 19th. They're going to have to play a lot better than this. And then they have a Friday, November 21st. I believe that is an NBA Cup game, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's an NBA Cup game. Then November 23rd against the Nets, November 24th against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then the final Cup game will be November 26th, my birthday, against the Indiana Pacers. So, you know, who's scared of Paul George? I'm not scared of Paul George. Y'all scared of Paul George? Anyone scared of Paul George? I don't think so. We're good. We good over here, man. We're not afraid of Paul George. Even Philly. I think Philly's a little bit better than people are giving them credit for, to be honest. They deserve your respect for the most part. So, yeah, overall. Maxey is the guy we need to key in on. Yeah. Is Embiid out? I don't know. I don't think he played tonight. Let me see here. Joel Embiid did not play tonight. No, he didn't. And Paul George was 2 for 9 in 9 points, and they beat the lowly LA Clippers, who cannot get a win to save their lives right now. So this is not necessarily a concerning team. This is definitely a winnable game, and you should have revenge on your mind. The Raptors should be the better team than the Sixers. Now that I actually think Paul George is going to hurt them. I mean, I'm curious to see what everyone says on the panel tomorrow, but I genuinely don't think that he's a good player anymore. He is 35 years old. I'm just reminding y'all, he's 35 years old. So, like, we are at that point now of Paul George's career where I just don't think that he is that great. RJ Shadow Rob. Okay, go to hell. Like, we got a caller named RJ Shadow Rob. RJ Shadow Rob, what's up?
What's going on, Ben?
What's good?
Not much, man. I've called in a few times. I'm the man from the garage. But anyways, yeah, I wanted to talk about the overall team, basically the starting lineup and how it's not really working too good for us. And when I look to see what's really wrong, all sides lead back to RJ for the most part. And I watch, I always watch your videos, so big ups to you. And the last one that you had about the trade for Pascal and Nemhard, I think that was pretty good. And you had one before about I believe it was Terrence Mann and Sharp. I think RJ, we all love RJ, I think, especially in this community. I don't think RJ's really, RJ's a good guy. He's hometown kid. We all want him to do well, but we've seen this before with DeMar, and we like this type of player doesn't work on this team. We need more of a 3-and-D type, and he just doesn't provide that for the most part. So I still think, you know what I mean? Like we thought, like, regardless if you like RJ, you don't like RJ, I think it's really his contract that I want to focus on. I think his contract is the biggest problem that this team is facing. He's making 27 this year. Next year, he's making 29. And the real problem is if he does well this year, he's going to want a bigger contract when he wants to extend, right? And if he doesn't do well, or he even stays the same, it's just like, well, next year he's not. Then he's on a 1-year contract, expiring contract next year. So it's just like, then his value goes down in terms of a trade. So
okay,
I think
I just got to stop you for a second. Your audio is really, really, really clicking in and out. It's been really distracting. Is there any way you want to try to call in and, just try to maybe fix the audio a little bit? It's just, it's hard to listen to. It's just
I'll call back.
Click. Yeah. Okay. Just
All right, cool.
if it can't work, it's just it's really
It's all
difficult
good,
to
bro.
listen to. Yeah, but thank
No
you for
worries.
calling in. Appreciate you, man. Professor Pixel, what's up?
Hey, not much. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
My audio is good?
Your audio is great.
All right. So I have a dilemma. And my dilemma is I can't decide whether or not Brandon Ingram played a good game or not because I didn't like a lot of what I saw today. And I don't know if that's just my personal like or dislike. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe what I didn't like was actually good. But and here's an example of it. During the broadcast, Alvin Williams specifically mentioned that he loved to see guys like Grady Dick clear out so that Brandon Ingram could take on the entire defense by himself. And I was thinking to myself, that's that's a good way for Brandon Ingram to get injured. B, that's a good way to develop bad habits. C, that's not the Raptors basketball that I like. I like cutting. I like moving. I like guys to be rewarded for cutting and guys to be rewarded for seeing the cut coming. Brandon Ingram's passes are an adventure. So maybe that's why he's not passing. But I don't know. I can't decide. Was it a good game or not? Did he do enough good that I could call it a great game from Brandon Ingram? I'm not sure what to do. What do you think?
I think he had. It's going to be controversial for people who are box score merchants. I don't think he had a good game.
All right, so I'm not the only one. Okay.
No, you're definitely not the only one. Look, the over forcing, the over dribbling, the over penetration, the shot selection, the turnovers were bad. Again, if you break the game down into defense and offense, he had a really good defensive game and a really bad offensive game. And it has nothing to do really with the blocks and the steals necessarily. I mean, it's nice, but typically blocks and steals are a result of you playing good defense, not the reason that you played good defense, right? So typically if you're playing great defense, like you'll notice, like if you played basketball, I played basketball. When you play great defense, when you're really locked in, you get blocks, you get steals by osmosis, right? So that's kind of what the Ingram game was. He was active, he had his hands in the passing lane. And that's how I feel like he got his attempts, like he got his shots. So that but the offensive process felt like he was forcing it. He was trying to prove a point, to the home crowd. I felt like there was a little bit of pressure, like, hey, I want to let these fans know. Look, man, Brandon Ingram has been playing in front of 40 people for like the last 5 years. Okay. Like, we're being honest here. The Pelicans don't have fans. Okay. Their arena is depressingly empty. So for Ingram to come here and just feel this, it's a mistake of enthusiasm as opposed to selfishness. I've never known Brandon Ingram to be a selfish player. I don't think he's a selfish player at all. I think this is correctable. I think all the Raptors would have to do is go to him and be like, bro, bad shot, pass it here, pass it here, pass it here. It also doesn't help, and this is context dependent, that Scottie was floating the way he was today. You know what I mean? It's not like Scottie was sealing early, demanding the ball and being like just being frozen out. Scottie was just like there, he was just there. He was around, 5 minutes of the game, he decided to be like really, really assertive. But for the most part, he was just around. And I feel like when he plays like that, it opens the door for Ingram to play the way he did. And, I think the Raptors were at their best when they dumped it down to Scottie, when they ran through Emmanuel quickly, when they passed the ball around, when Jamal Shed penetrated, when they swung it from side top side, got the open shooter when Grady was, doing his stuff in transition. Like, I think this team just plays better that way, but I cannot ignore the fact that Ingram's necessary. Like we should not be a good half court offense based on our talent. We definitely should not be a good half court offense. The fact that we are a good half court offense is in large part due to the attention, gravity, and decision making that he has, right? The fact that he is consistently going to bail us out of situations like that. So it is important for sure. Yeah.
And that's my dilemma, is because I know what he brings. It's just, do I like that or not? I mean, I remember the old Raptors iterations where they didn't have anyone like Ingram, and it was so frustrating when nobody could score. And it was when their defense was, when they were going up against a hot defense and they weren't getting anything easy. It's like you just wished for somebody to just be able to sink a shot, and now we have that. And then, but you know, it's always a give and take, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. This is the wildest game. I'm kind of like following it. This is insane. Jamal Murray makes a 3 with 1.7 seconds to go. I mean, the Denver Nuggets are not going to win this game, but like, what the hell? Like, if they had 2 more seconds on this clock, they would win this
Yeah,
game somehow.
that's crazy.
It is nuts how close games are going lately. It's just crazy. Like, almost every game feels like it's going to be super close unless that game involves a mega injury. But like, we've had so many close games tonight. We had a 2-point game that was supposed to be like an 8-point, 9-point game between the Raptors and the Hornets. Then this Clippers Philly game went down to the wire. There's so many games every single night that are going right down to the wire. It's nerve-wracking, man.
Yeah, it's a good night of basketball.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah, Chicago's going to win this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they have a timeout, they can draw something up and push it to overtime. They do have the best player in the game, but eesh. Well, kind of makes you think. Imagine the Raptors being in this situation. RJ Barrett goes to the line.
Yeah, I've seen that movie before.
In place of Kevin Huerter. Like, we play 2 very shaky free throw shooters in our starting lineup, and that is almost a recipe to lose close games. So in a lot of ways, the Raptors are very fortunate to have not been in a lot of close games. The last time they were in a close game, they lost. They've lost most of the close games they've been in. So it was nice to see them pull one out here, and they won it on defense. Really, it wasn't the offense.
Oh,
it was not the offense.
That's exactly right. Like, I posted in the chat earlier that I think this was a really important win for this team because, like you said, I don't feel like maybe they deserve to win this one, and they were certainly up against the whistle, and they stopped the Hornets from scoring for like the last minute and a half or something, like without fouling. I thought that was incredible. And then with those highlight blocks, like that's when young teams fall apart. That's when their composure is gone. And I thought it was so important that this Raptors squad pulled this one out.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I think it's in these moments that you build character with your teammates because you feel that adrenaline. You go into the locker room, you were in this close fight, and yeah, like, you know, who doesn't want to win 5 straight games? Like, there was a clip of Scotty getting the chain after the Cleveland win, and I think he said something like, "No. I think it was the Garrett Temple, the last road game that they won, and Garrett Temple got the chain." And so he goes up, and after, Scotty's like, "I haven't won 3 out of 4 road games in 3 years, man. Let's go." He was so happy. So, yeah, like, you know, when you've lost a lot, like, I felt that frustration with Cade Cunningham. I don't know if you remember that press conference where I think it was like 22 or 23 straight losses, and Cade just came out and said, "We are not 23 losses bad. We are not 23
Yeah.
losses." He looked like he
I
was about
remember
to have a
very clearly.
psychotic breakdown when he said
Yeah.
that. Like, and I feel like that's the day that his brain was just like, "I will never feel this pain again." Like,
Yeah.
Jordan lost early. The pain of losing creates the fire to win. I've always believed this. So, you know, shout outs to the Toronto Raptors for, you know, losing as much as they did in the last few years. It must not feel nice. You know, I mean, I read the blogs, I read the articles, I read the ESPN rankings, I read the 2K rankings. You think these guys are happy? You think Scotty's happy? 85 overall, 86 overall. You think Ingram's happy being 77th player on the, you know, ESPN top 100 team? There's a lot of pride here. And, you know, it'd be nice to see how much the narrative is able to shift now that they're winning. I'm curious. I'm very curious, actually.
I don't know, maybe another month, a winning record up to the All-Star break, and I think that even the slow talking heads will start to take notice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm curious, how do you feel about the trades and the talk around needing to trade and, you know, that thing? Do you think it's presumptuous? What would you do if you were the general manager of this team and this team was off to a 9-5 start, and, you know, for the most part your players are playing relatively well, but your starting lineup is consistently getting, you know, losing minutes at times that are very unfortunate times?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm 100% with you on. I think we need a Larry Markkinen or a Pascal Siakam, because I have always thought that Scotty was miscast at the 4. He's doing a great job at it, but I mean, I don't want to see him get hurt. I think that he's putting a proper 4 in the lineup would, I think it would do wonders. I really do. So, I mean, those two are great. I really liked what I saw from Diabate. Daryl, do you have a brother named Dale? No, I don't. I know some Dales.
I know some chips.
There you go. So yeah, I like. Yeah, like I was saying, yeah, Diabate. I liked what I saw from him. Like we need some of that too. So again, I like your ideas for like basically all of the trades that you've pitched. I'm like, yeah, like I can see that. So I'm on board with trading somebody. I'm on board with trading RJ. I like RJ. I think that he is a really good third option when he's, like he was playing a couple weeks ago. I think he was doing great. He's struggling. I'm not panicking, but if there was a deal out there to be made, I would jump on that.
Yeah, I think there's such a thing about, looking at a player who scores 20 points, gets 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and sort of the ideas we have about those players. Just going back to childhood, it's like when you saw any star player for any team, what was the stat line like? Any star wing you could think of, even if it was like not a superstar, but like a normal star wing, like a Jalen Rose, Vince Carter, right? Grant Hill. There was always a hash line of something close to 20, something close to 5, something close to 5. So typically today, when we see a guy who averages 24, 3, and 2, we're like, oh, that's empty calories, right? It doesn't feel full enough, right? We're not satisfying this PRA quota that we have, right? But then you get to like 22, 6, and 5, and you're like, ooh, that's star adjacent. But this is why we need the per 100 numbers. This is why we need those per 100 numbers. This is why we need to contextualize minutes, role, usage, efficiency, pace, right? Because if you take what Jerry Stackhouse was doing, and I'm not a fan of Jerry Stackhouse and the Pistons, I thought he was wildly inefficient. But if you take a scorer like a Corey Maggette or a Jerry Stackhouse and you supercharge them and you put them into the Raptors space pace lineup and give them the opportunities, like they are going to give you like 26 points to 27 points per game. And we're going to be talking about them very differently. We're going to be like, is it Corey Maggette's team or is it, Jerry Stackhouse's team? And it's just like, the point is, it doesn't matter. Jerry Stackhouse could score more points than Kevin Garnett every single night, and it didn't change the fact that Garnett was the best player in the league in 2004, 2003, 2002. It doesn't matter. Kobe Bryant could score more points than, Shaquille O'Neal in a game. It didn't change the fact that Shaq was better, and through at least their first three-peat. These things don't matter, but this is a way that casual fans like somehow consume the game. And then when you suggest trading away a 22-point per game score, you know what happens? They automatically reduce 22 points from your point total. And they're just like, but, we had 130. Does that mean we'll have 108 points per game? And it's just like, no, dumbass. Someone else would take those shots. You know what I mean? It's like, if you want evidence of this, go look at the Paul Reed led, Detroit Pistons the other night. Paul Reed scored 28 points and grabbed like 14 rebounds. Look like if you'd been in a coma your whole life and you just woke up like after the 60s and you're like, let me go check some basketball out, you'd be like, oh, this Paul Reed guy, he's like Wes Unseld, like.
Well, I remember Nick Nurse specifically saying that he thought Paul Reed could be the next Siakam. So
I remember that too. I remember that vividly. That quote looms large in my brain. But yeah, like it's a very interesting litmus test to understand like what do people see in the game. Like, do people just see scoring? Do they just see box scores? Do they watch the game, have no idea what they watched, and go to the box score and be like, now this is my opinion? Scotty Barnes 12 points, bad game. Scotty Barnes 20 points, good game. I've seen so many bad Scotty games where he had 22, and I've seen so many good Scotty games where he's had 14. Now this was a bad game where he had 16, so it's like whatever. Yeah.
Do you remember that playback that you were on a couple weeks ago with Suns and I forget, but it was Jalen Green's first game back.
Mm-hmm.
And in the chat, there was this guy called Duke that I was going back and forth with a little
Duke
bit.
did
and
it. Yep.
Yeah. And he was saying like, Jalen Green, MVP, all this stuff. And I was like, this is it. Like Jordan Poole, if I squinted my eyes, I could see Jordan Poole a lot of the times when, like, he had a great offensive game, but I could see a lot of shades of Jordan Poole. And I was like, this guy traditionally has been more Jordan Poole and less Kobe Bryant. And he's like, well, yeah, that's my favorite archetype. And I was like, well, there you go. Jordan Poole is his favorite archetype. This is how fans see basketball. And I was like, I don't think that a player of that archetype could ever lead a team to win. And he's like, why not? So
I don't know. So here's the thing. Could you, if you wanted to, construct a championship roster around Jalen Green? Yes, I think you could. If the other 4 players are Kevin Garnett, Ben Wallace,
OG Anunoby, Ben Wallace,
OG Anunoby, and Gary Payton, and they just let him take all the shots, then yes, he could be the leading scorer on a championship team. Now, again, like, there's that all X is Y, but not all Y is X, right? That sort of phenomenon where, like, okay, all superstar guards throughout league history have been major offensive producers to some extent or another, whether it be through their passing, their scoring, or some way. But not all box score stuffers are superstars. But people don't get that. It doesn't flow both ways. This is not like, that's not how the river flows. It only flows one way. The logical stream is that impact is measured not through your rebounding numbers, but rather how your team rebounds when you're on the court. And it's not through your scoring, your individual scoring, but through how your team scores when you're on the court. So like a player like Jason Kidd, there was a Thinking Basketball podcast where they talked about, the rim frequency when Jason Kidd was on the court. And they said, well, he almost never took shots at the rim. And yet the Nets were significantly better at getting shots at the rim. Jamal Shad is very similar, by the way, in that regard, right? He doesn't take a lot of shots at the rim, but something about his offense and how he drives offense means that the Raptors get a lot of shots at the rim with him on the bench. And you'd have to watch him for 4 minutes to figure out how that happens, right? Jokic, it's like open threes and rim assist twos. Why? Well, that's what he's trying to do. That's his whole offensive philosophy and process. So it's like Jokic could have a 25, 8, and 8 game, and it could be way more impressive than a 60-point game. Way more impressive, right? So it's just about understanding it. And I think come to a point now where actually I think we both need to learn something from Nikola Jokic. Would you like to learn it?
Yeah, man.
Okay, this is interesting because I think you and I are similar in the sense that we do try to influence people that cannot be influenced. So Nikola Jokic,
for better or for worse, but yeah,
for better or for worse, we are the hopeless influencers. So Nikola Jokic was once so first Nikola Vucevic was asked about the pronunciation of Nikola, right? And he said, my name's Nikola. And then comes around and he says, so are you telling me that we've been saying Nikola Jokic's name wrong the entire time? And he's just like, yeah, there's no Nikola, it's Nikola. So they go up to Nikola Jokic and they say, have we been saying your name wrong? He's like, no, you're fine. And you're just like, well, how would you say it? And then he says it another anglicized way, which is a halfway between the Serbian way and the English way. And they're just like, so is it that or that? He's just like, I don't care. And they're like, so is he wrong or are you wrong? And he's just like, I just don't care. And they're just like, well, how can you not care? He's like, I'm not trying to fix you. I don't want to get caught up in trying to fix you.
That's some wisdom right there.
it is super wisdom. He may not jump very high, but his mind is on another planet. So, I think trying to get people to understand basketball through this deeply analytical lens when all they want is buckets, buckets, buckets. And it's just like, you're not going to convince them. Just move on with it. It's cool. They think Brandon Ingram had a great game tonight because he had some dunks, he had some awesome blocks. And overall, I think the blocks and the dunks were really good. That was really good. He looked a lot springier than he usually does, which is great. His defensive activity, even when he didn't get blocks and steals, was really good. So I wouldn't be surprised if tonight he had like a 2.6, 3.4 blocks plus minus. I also wouldn't be surprised if he had a -4. It really could go either way, depending on how the stats see him. Anyways, Daryl, any final thoughts? Or Professor Pixel, any final thoughts?
Professor Pixel. No, man. Good chat.
Good chat, as always.
Catch you in the next one.
Shout-outs. Yeah, shout-outs to you. Peace. Navin Bose, what's up? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah. What's good, man?
What's good?
So I thought this was a good game. You know, it's a close game and it was an ugly game, but I actually agree with you on your assessment that the Hornets are sneaky good. And this is the first time they've had Lamelo, right? Or is this the second game they've had him back?
No, they've had him back for a few games.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they were very
In a
good.
row, but yeah.
They're very good. I feel like BI is an absolute revelation player that we haven't had on this team in a long time. Just and he's so clutch. And I feel like we really see how clutch he is. Like that's going to be a huge asset going forward because, you know, we've had clutch situations in past seasons and I don't really like, you know, RJ's had clutch moments and you know, he's kind of squandered them in the past. Even Scotty hasn't been as steady, but BI seems like he's going to be lethal in the clutch. And like that feels like a different type of player that we haven't had in years. So that's exciting.
You didn't see the Raptors offense meltdown in the clutch today?
No, they definitely
over and over again.
But he bailed them out in the end. I feel like BI bailed them out. Would you agree with that?
No, I wouldn't at all.
You know, I think BI completely bailed them out of that situation. Like when in that second to last or third to last possession, when he drew the double team and was able to pass that pass to RJ because he was wide open, like having that level of gravity where they really fear him in that moment and drew a double team and completely overextended on him, that saved us for sure.
Right, but here's the thing. Like, one could argue that at home against a worse team that even we both admit is sneaky good, you should not be in a situation where you're in a 2-point game where you're down 2. So in a lot of ways, the turnovers, the bad shots, the forcing shots stuff, it does hurt you. Look, I think I'm reasonably intelligent enough to know when a shot is required to be forced. When everything is taken away, it's a short clock situation. I understand. But even Kyrie and, you know, very mega skilled scorers have had to learn how to play on 3 dribbles, right?
Yeah.
The defense loads up so much by the time Ingram starts his move. He's not Anthony Edwards, John Morant level quick twitch. So by the time he gets to the rim, he's often facing 3, 4 guys. Not enough is being done to the offense, you know, to the defense to before he starts his move. So I think he needs to start acting a little bit quicker. Otherwise, we end up in a situation like DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gay, Chris Bosh, where the defense is able to set up for you. And I actually think that this is the opposite of clutch. I think this is going to backfire majorly in the playoffs or, you know, in close game situations where, you know, I don't know what people think Brandon Ingram is. I'm a huge BI fan. I know he's not Kevin Durant. I know he's not Kobe Bryant. I know he's not Luka Doncic. I know he's not on that level. So when you start treating him like he is on that level, like it's just way more stoppable than it is for those guys. Now this year he's shooting 58% from 2 going into this game. That's elite. That is elite. That's right up there with, you know, some of the better scorers in the NBA. So shout outs to the Raptors for creating the type of space where he can attack. But a lot of that is because he hasn't been forcing crazy offense. And sometimes in New Orleans, he did force like some really, really bad offense, right? So yeah, it happens.
I think that look, I agree with you. I do think that he is a player that is going to help our half court offense a lot. And I do think that it's nice to have the shooting gravity. I do want to see, for some reason, I feel like the other Raptors, when BI is doing ISO stuff, completely freeze up. I would like to see them be cutting more. They're just kind of watching him. And I'm like, guys, like he might draw a double team anytime here. Somebody cut under the basket. But I don't know. I feel good about this game overall, even though look, it was a sloppy, disgusting game. But it's nice. This is the first time this season where we've got to see a clutch performance, and they walked away from it. So that's at least nice. And like, it's nice to see the defensive intensity too from them late in the game. And like, it makes me happy that the way we won this game was defense and not offense. Some crazy clutch three, but actually a block that wins the game. Like, that makes me optimistic. Scotty, I feel like, really was forcing his offense tonight. How do you feel about that?
I don't think he forced it. I just don't think he was good. Like, he just did not play great tonight. There's
Yeah,
nothing else
like,
to say. Like, he just
I
didn't
just
look
felt
good.
like I felt like, I mean, I like anytime Scotty's aggressive. Anytime he's like, I'm gonna get to the basket no matter what. Like, I'm always for that. But tonight, especially, it felt like sometimes he made up his mind early that he was gonna do that and like tried to draw the foul and it didn't come. And then he would get caught up with that and kind of stay on the other side of the court. So I don't know. And then my other thing is I really want CMB to improve his finishing under the rim. I think he has great pace of play. He's got great IQ. I just think that that's one thing that really needs to come along for him is just getting more consistent with his finishing under the rim, having a little bit more touch and finesse under there. I mean, he obviously has the skill, and like I've been kind of calling that out early on. A lot of people have been like, "Oh, I think that's CMB's strength," that he's finishing under the rim, but it just looks a little bit sloppy under the rim for me. How do you feel about that?
I think the angles are very, very different. NBA to college, and he's a pretty good rim finisher. I mean, to be honest, he's been a pretty good rim finisher in college. He's not a player who typically struggles, but he is a below the rim athlete. He's not necessarily an explosive vertical pop athlete. So he's going to have to find craft and angles, like a little bit like RJ, but unlike RJ,
Yeah.
he has a bigger wingspan. He's a bigger guy. Overall, he's stronger, at a younger age. So he'll probably find angles and stuff, but he's going to be using craft a lot to get to the rim. And this was there's only two things that made me at all afraid of drafting CMB. Number one was below the rim finisher. Number two, shooting. That was it. Ball handling didn't scare
Yeah.
me. Passing didn't scare me. Defense was great. So it's just there's only two things with him, right, that he needs to really, really fix, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about him, and like I think the Raptors development team will kill it with him too. So I'm pretty optimistic. But yeah, my overall thought is like it's a bummer about how sloppy and gross this game was, but like I'm walking away feeling like really happy. I don't know why. I just feel like it was just a gritty game against a kind of sneakily good team, and like we walked away winning after coming home from the road trip, and it's just like normally I just feel like we would drop this game. Like, this is just a game we would drop for sure any other season. And it just feels like this is a good example of improvement.
I agree with you. I think that's a really fair point, and a good place to end it is yes, like this is the type of game that you could have easily lost. This is a game where you can hang your head. Oh, we were up, now we're down. And it took a lot of grit. It took a lot of willpower. For Brandon Ingram to get that big block at the end, and then for Scotty to follow it up with a block of his own, blocking a 7-footer. Shit, like 7'1", the way that he did, yamming it
Oh
on
my
him.
God.
Like, look, I think whether it
Crazy.
was quickly early in the season, right? Whether it's RJ now, whether it's Scotty occasionally, whether it's Ingram, forcing shots, I can feel from the essence that everyone is doing things from the right place.
Yeah.
They doing the wrong thing from the right place. Even some of the defensive aggression, like some of the fouls that Jacoby Walter picked up, silly fouls, right? I still feel like these are mistakes of aggression, mistakes of trying to implement something that the team wants, right? So as opposed to mistakes of laziness, which are worse, mistakes of selfishness, which are significantly worse. So these are not like those types of mistakes. These are teachable moments, and hopefully this team is actually leveling up. And I
Yeah.
feel like this team has still yet to play its best basketball, but it can play better than this. And I think that's surprising for people who are like, "Oh, we're 9-5. How can we play better?" No, we can definitely play
Oh,
better than this. Yeah, for
oh,
sure.
we can get so much better. But it is comforting though, seeing that when your guys don't have it going, like a couple guys don't have it going, that you have the net of these other dudes to catch you. Like anybody gets it going. Like tonight was like BI, give him the ball. But like, any other given night, it could be Scotty, it could be, I mean, Quick even, like, Pirtle, like it's just nice when when you feel like even though a couple guys aren't getting it going, you still have some depth now. And I'm a huge RJ fan. Like I have an RJ jersey. I'm that guy. Um, I think I'm slowly starting to accept that he just might not be the right fit in the starting lineup. Like I think I'm ready. I'm happy to take like a more steady role player than like some guy. Like I don't know. I just feel like RJ is an interesting player and like he excites me at times. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we need him to make this team like even better. Like I could see him being involved in a trade, which bums me out because it's like every jersey I have, the guy gets traded the next year. Like that's just my luck. Like I literally like I just bought like my nice Siakam jersey and then he gets traded, and same thing with Barrett. But it is what it is.
Well, it might be a collector's item. He might be the
Yep, that's true.
best Canadian player to play for the Raptors. Is that fair? I mean, respect to Chris Boucher, but he might be the best Canadian player. Kem Birch, Kelly Olynyk, him.
Yep.
Is
I
there
think
somebody
you're
else? Jamal McGlure had a cup of coffee with us at one point. We had
right.
Corey Joseph
Right.
for a little bit, but yeah, I mean, he definitely is. And
Until Shea comes home. He's coming, man.
if that ever happens, yes.
It's gonna
Anyway,
happen, man.
yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Anyways,
All
I mean,
right.
thanks a lot for calling in. Appreciate you.
Yeah, of course, man.
Cheers.
Peace.
Okay, we are going to get to Layne and AG, and we're going to do it at once. But I need to take a 1 minute break. If you oblige, I need to put up a screen here. I will be back in exactly 1 minute. Exactly 1 minute. And I just need a drink of water, guys. I'm just thinking, like, I'm like, man, I really need a drink of water. So just give me 1 sec here. I'll be right back. Probably should have muted myself, as I totally messed that up. 1 second. Okay, we are back. Let's get Layne and AG on here. Okay, Layne, AG, what's up?
Yo,
What's good,
What's up?
man?
What's up? What's up?
Okay, what'd you guys think of this game? Start with you, Layne. What's up?
yeah. What I tell you last year about what's his name? Sexton. I really think that if we could have got him for cheap, he could have been a nice change of pace off combo guard off the bench. I was huge on him last March when we had talked about guys I'd like to see the Raptors get in the offseason. And I thought he was huge today for the Hornets. I mean, he's a good energy guy, but I mean, other than that, like, what can you say? The boys handle business. Was not pretty, but good wins get ugly win. Good wins. Good teams get ugly wins.
They do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this was a. What'd you think of Brandon Ingram's game? Daryl and I were having this huge thing about like, was it a good game or was it a bad game? What like did the defense make up for some of the turnovers? Like, what did you think of the game?
I think someone had to do it. You know, it'd be a little bit more detrimental if someone else was hot and he was taking the same shots he was. But to be fair to him, like, who else was going to take those shots, right? If someone has to take those shots, and tonight it was him. The most encouraging thing for me was all but the last three were really good 3-point shots. Like, he has really struggled from three, and the fact that he drilled three tonight was awesome to see.
Agreed. Yeah. AG, what'd you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think his defense towards the end of the game made up for a lot of things. He was trying some things. Obviously, he had some turnovers, but overall, I like it. Like Layne said, you know, he's tasked to be the guy that takes those tough shots, and I think when that happen, when you're in that role, I mean, you're gonna have nights where, and like he said, also he's been struggling a little bit from three, but he made some key plays. And at the end of the day, if you show up in the big moments, for me, I can erase a lot of the bad things that you did earlier in the game. That's just how I watch basketball, you know. And I think he came up clutch defensively, especially, you know, which is really encouraging because I like two-way players a lot. So I like to see the effort. I mean, he's been putting in a lot of effort defensively this year. He's really tried, you know. I haven't really seen him a lot of the playmaking yet, but I still trust his IQ in terms of out there, like how he plays, and that'll come eventually. This team has a way under Darko of getting better and more fluid as the season goes on. So I think we'll see more of the playmaking. But overall, it was a very nerve-wracking game towards the end. And you know, this is one of the franchises that I don't like. Just I don't know what it is. I just don't like them. I don't like the Hornets. I don't like the Bucks. Like, it's just I don't know what it is. Maybe it's those gut-wrenching losses that we had in clutch situations against Charlotte when Jeremy Lamb, I think it was, when he hit that crazy shot. Yeah, I hated that. But good game, I guess.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think this is like one of those bittersweet moments where it's like you realize the bar is about to go up for this team, right? Like what we were talking about last time, AG, about basically like holding this team to a higher standard where you get professional wins. Stinkers happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen on a night like tonight where you're going up against an opponent that you probably don't know yet, you don't respect. What I have really appreciated about the Raptors is they faced a couple of teams now twice. They faced the Cavaliers twice. They faced the Atlanta Hawks twice. I like to think that with Eastern Conference teams, I'm going to judge you more on the second time you play the team. Do you make the same mistakes? Do you learn from the things you did the last time? That to me is like, that's the real mark. Because if we're trying to use this as a litmus test for the playoffs or the NBA Cup or whatever, like to me, it's like the playoff series. There's a type of player or a type of team in the playoffs that gets better with every single game, and then there's a type of team that gets worse. I would like to think the Raptors will be the type of team that get better with every single game in the playoffs.
Yeah, you hope so. I think not to like completely switch subjects and gears, but I think one thing that's concerning to me, and I wonder if you notice it too, is how these lanky forward, like weird combo small forward, power forward energy guys have just been killing us lately. I think that's one concern of when you play better teams and they go to their bench units, you can't let a Tomlin or you can't let a Diabate, and not those guys in particular, but other guys like other
Trent
teams.
and Watford.
Yeah, exactly. You can't let those guys kill you. And we've been routinely letting those guys kill us time after time after time. And I think that's something that you really have to hone in. Now, is that just a product of you not having a rim protector on your bench? Probably, right? But even still, like, you can't let those guys penetrate. You can't let those guys get in. I think if we played a little more of a zone sometimes, I feel like we're very, very man. I can only remember 3 games this year we've played a zone for more than a minute, right? And we go a lot of man defense. I think a zone's going to limit that, especially the penetration, because it's pretty much just a screen or a pin down, and boom, there's that big lanky guy in the paint, right?
Right.
It's your job to stop him. But that's my main concern. I mean, if I'm going to be nitpicky from wins that we've had recently, it's
Mhm.
letting those guys go off on us and get easy chip points when, they probably shouldn't.
That's been a problem actually for years, especially those lanky players that you were speaking
Mhm.
about. We've had an issue historically with those type of players, but this year specifically, I think we've had more of an issue with guys that just have ability, like a really good ability to get to the basket. Because, like you said, we don't really have a lot of rim protection, especially when Yak was hurt. Obviously, we're playing undersized. I mean, that's been a problem. Even when we did have two solid bigs like Gasol and Ibaka, when one of
Mhm.
them would go to the bench, I mean, we still used to get like a lot of dribble penetration against us. Guys would beat the first man, and then they would blow by, and then there would be corner threes open. Like, we've had that for a long time. So I don't know how they're going to shore that up long term, but they got to figure something out, because that could be a big problem in the playoffs, especially if they don't make moves to improve that.
Layne, how would you solve that problem, though? You've brought up an interesting problem, and I definitely do notice it, and I do see it.
Mhm.
Musa Diabate gave us some trouble. So, what is it about this team? And specifically, I mean, when I look at the film, it seems like there's usually a couple of players on the court that are just getting out physical all game on the defensive end. They
Mhm.
allow clean lanes to the basket for offensive rebounding position. They don't box out. They get outreached, out rebounded. So, what's the solution here?
You don't let those guys get downhill, right? You go to a 2-3. Now the issue is that, do you have smart enough players on the court to play a 2-3, right? And if you can't do that, you need to have a rim protecting big, which the second unit doesn't have. So not only do we not sustain zone defense, like, we
Mhm.
literally don't do it for more than 1 or 2 possessions, and then we go back to man, right? Like, we're not running zone for minutes on end, which really good teams have to do, to be honest, right? But we also don't have a rim protector off the bench, so these guys are getting running starts, right? Their hair's on fire. They're running into the paint, and there is absolutely no one there to stop them, right? So, I mean, there's 2 solutions. We're not doing either or,
Hmm.
and that's my opinion.
I can see that. Yeah.
But I think a 2-3 is something that's really going to help, because once that guy takes a step in, he's going to meet 3 bodies, and he's going to have to make a decision to pass. And none of these guys that are killing us, other than maybe Wofford, are above average decision makers. So I want to make them think fast, right? Like a Tomlin, like a Diabate, like guys like that, And obviously, I know this has been an issue for us for years. We're not giving up the corner threes like we have in the past, which is great, right? At the same rate, at the same clip that we were. But to be able to stop this, like, I would rather, against Philly on Wednesday, let Maxey go off for 50 against us than to let Wofford have 20. Because Maxey's going to get his 35 regardless, right? Like, make him the primary scorer. Make Maxey be the one that has to put the ball in the basket. Do not let these other guys get hot.
Yeah. I'm actually curious what the Hornets shoot from 3 on the season, because I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts they do not shoot 25% on the season. I'm gonna guess, without even looking at it, that they shoot closer to like 35, 37%. So if I look at it from that perspective, let's just check this out here. So the Charlotte Hornets this year they are 29th in terms of offensive rating, 24th in terms of defensive rating, 28th in terms of net rating. As much as I can applaud the fact that they are a fun team to watch, they are not a good team, have not been a good team. And with Lamelo in the lineup, they're just a little bit better. They've had him for 7 games. This, I think, was his 8th game of the season. Wait a second. This is last year's. So this year, they're slightly better. They are 16th in offensive rating, 26th in defensive rating, 21st in net rating, which is probably why I felt they were a sneaky team. So they have a 4-9 record coming into tonight. So again, like you remember this team being worse than they were like last year, right?
Mhm.
But in terms of 3-point percentage this year, they shoot 37% from three. They shot 25% tonight. One could argue they shoot 26% from tonight, you lose.
Yep.
That's how close it was. Now, the question I have for you is watching this game, do you feel like the Raptors did a good job defending the three?
I do. I also think that they took a lot of ill-advised threes. To be honest with you, right? Lamelo's gonna have his one-legged pull-ups. If Lamelo would just cut, and this is just a little tangent, but if he would just cut like 2 or 3 parts out of his game out, he'd be a top 7 point guard of the NBA overnight. The issue is he's not coachable. I don't think he really cares to. Like, he's gonna have fun. He's gonna sell tickets. He's gonna do his thing. So he gave you some ill-advised shots, but I really think we did. Miles Bridges has been a guy that's been shooting damn near 40% all year long. And I know he was 3 for 9 tonight, which I mean 33%, 40%. Like, he makes another three, he's at 40%, right? But still, like, he could have easily been a guy tonight that had 5 or 6 threes, and he just didn't.
So he shoots 36% on the season so far.
Gotcha. It must have been 40 the other night.
Con is shooting 40. Sion James, weirdly enough, because he's wide open all the time, is shooting 48.8%. on very low volume, right? So Miles Bridges and Lamelo Ball and Con Knipple, like they take a ton of threes. It's interesting to me. Of course, this is something that has to change. Is that Con only gets 8 threes a game?
Con is nuts.
He's nuts.
Nuts.
Like, why is he averaging 17 points per game? Like, honestly, like if I was Charles Lee, I would probably cut 3 threes from Lamelo, 2 threes from Miles, and give them all to Con.
He's so good. I didn't expect him to be this good. I mean,
We're watching Klay Thompson, dude.
we're watching. I mean, prime Klay Thompson in his rookie year. In the not like saying he's that good, but the fact that he could do everything that prime Klay did in his prime,
Offensively.
right? Not offensively, not to the standard of Klay, but like he could drive, right? He's a decent finisher around the rim, good mid-range shooter.
He's a better passer than Klay, number one.
He's not just a stand at the 3-point line and hope the ball comes his way type of guy. Like, he has a bag.
Yeah.
You know, he's gonna develop into a hell of a player, and like the Hornets have a lot of good young talent over there. Like, they're gonna be a team eventually to where they're gonna be a 6 seed that ruins somebody's season. Right? Like that's coming in the next 2 years when Brandon Miller gets healthy. You know, maybe they get off Lamelo Ball, maybe the coach comes in and rips his ass and gets him to play the right way or whatever, but Kneppel's going to be older. I mean, it's a solid roster. Like, I look at their roster, I look at our roster, they have more talent on their roster, all throughout the roster. They have more talent. We just have more experience. That's the truth. And I also think we have a higher ceiling player as our number one, but like their talent, they're deep.
I don't know how much I agree with them having more talent than us, but I kind of see where you're coming from.
I mean, Brandon Miller and Kneppel are like, Scotty Barnes is obviously the best player on both teams. There's an argument that Brandon Ingram's the second, but I would honestly say they probably have the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, right? So maybe in terms of depth, there's more.
I
But
think
like,
most people would probably tell you Lamelo is a better player than Brandon Ingram.
okay, so they have the second, fourth, fifth, sixth. Hey, let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah, but we're going off of offensive talent. For me, I judge players on what they can do on both ends of the court. So, but if we want to talk about raw talent, then yeah, that would be one thing. But overall, I like our roster.
So do I.
Yeah,
So
even for the foreseeable future, because I think if CMB can develop his three and just become adequate, like more than adequate. I mean, he's shooting pretty decent this year, but if he can become comfortable, I think he can be just as good as their young players overall, because his defensive impact is that much better than any of them. So
right. Well, I'm assuming that one of you have watched a lot of Brandon Miller.
Mhm.
What is it that puts Brandon Miller in your mind over an RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly as a talent? I understand he was a top 6 pick, but I'm just curious because, I mean, again, it's not production. Definitely not production.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
RJ Barrett or Brandon Miller, who do you want right now? Like, okay, let's say they're both 25 years old, and there's no more upside either way for either one of them. Which player do you take right now? So based off of who they are, there's no this guy's younger, this guy's older. There's no this guy can develop more, this guy won't develop more. Which player do you take?
The archetype argument is in favor of Miller. He is an insanely high volume 3-point shooter. He averaged like 15 per 100 last year. He hasn't been efficient enough for me. But that being said, he's a better shooter than RJ for sure. He's a better shooter. He's longer. He's a better defender.
Yep.
So yes.
Yep.
But RJ is a hell of a talent too.
He is. And you know that I'm not an RJ hater at all.
course,
Like one
of
bit,
course.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. If that team plays right and they all get on the court together at the same time, they're going to be dangerous. Now, I've always said talent is good in theory. Like that's conversations that we've had before. Like talent is good in theory. The Hornets have more talent than us, but it is good in theory. The issue is the Raptors are putting it together on the court right now, and they're playing as a team. Even on off nights like this, where Scotty doesn't look his best, I honestly would have liked to see IQ take more shots, and he didn't.
Okay. Here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a question for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
If we're assuming that Lamelo and Scotty are the best players on either teams, would you trade, if this trade was possible, 15 roster for 15 roster? Would you just trade everyone on the Hornets, not named Lamelo Ball, for everyone on the Raptors, not named Scotty Barnes?
I would not, personally.
Okay. 3 through 6 on the Hornets, I would. With 3 through 6 on the Raptors.
No, I'm talking the entire roster.
Yeah,
I want to read out the entire roster of the Hornets. Okay, and again, there's a lot of small sample size bias with whatever the hell you think Zion James is, whatever you think Ryan Cockburner is, who you think Moussa Diabate is. They are a very young team. So in fairness, there's a lot of, plus side there. Tijan Salon is their rookie from last year. I got to see him live. He's huge. He's a huge, huge specimen, probably more of a project. They have Pat Connaughton, Liam McNeely, Antonio Reeves, KJ Simpson, Zion James, Ryan Cockburner, Moussa Diabate, Trey Mann, Brandon Miller, Colin Sexton, Con Knipple, and Miles Bridges. Would you trade all of that for Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, Brandon Ingram, Colin Murray Boyles, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly? I'm just reading out the names and I'm like, I don't think I would. No, I can't. So I think the only way that you can sell yourself on them having more talent is if you convince yourself that Lamelo is that much more talented than Scotty.
I think bottom of the roster aside, I mean, Con, Brandon Miller, and Bridges are all, that 3 as a package is better than what Barrett, IQ, and Pirtle is, right? I mean, you add an Ingram, that's when it gets lopsided the Raptors' way. But their 3 through 6 is a lot stronger than our 3 through 6. However, our 3 through 6 looks better because our 1 and 2 are just that good. And that's the truth. They're one. Their Lamelo is not that good. You put Scotty Barnes on that Hornets team, how much better are they? How much you put Brandon Ingram on that Hornets team, how much better are they? Like, let's just not forget, like, Brandon Ingram took the Pelicans to the playoffs a few years ago. Look at those Pelicans starting lineups. That Hornets starting lineup would boat race that Pelicans starting lineup, right? Like, how much better are those teams with our top 2 guys? Like, Scotty, BI do not get enough credit for what they do for this team.
Yeah, I just I don't think Miles Bridges is that good. He's good, but he's not that good.
I think in a Darko system, he could be. I don't think he's
Yes, I get what you're saying. There's always the compounding complication of trying to judge players in suboptimal systems.
Like, look at PJ Washington. Everyone thought he was a negative asset, borderline league guy. Maybe he's your 8th and 9th man off the bench defensively in Charlotte. If he went somewhere else, he gets to Dallas. He's the starting power forward on a championship competing team, not a championship team, but a championship competing team. right? Like, look at
Right.
all the negative assets that have came out, or quote unquote negative assets that have came out of bad situations that guys won't touch. Like Rui Hachimura, for example, from the Wizards to the Lakers, Denny to the Trailblazers, right? Like, those guys are borderline negative assets, almost like if you fail at your next place, you're out of the league type of guy. They go to even semi-positive to positive situations, and all of a sudden they're positive players. Like, so often do players' reputations get tarnished by the teams that they're on, unfortunately. And I think there's a lot of guys on the Hornets that are like that. I think there's a lot of guys on the Pelicans, Wizards, right, that are going to be that way. To where if they came to a team like the Raptors right now with the culture that they've been building and cultivating, like they're gonna be fine. Like those guys don't scare me.
Agreed. Yeah, I get it.
I think so often we put stock into who someone's playing for instead of what type of player they are. Like, and I'm at fault for that too. Like, if you would have asked me if Rui Hachimura would have been a good player, a good NBA player after watching him on the Wizards, I would have laughed at you.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I get it. And I mean, at the same time, if you'd asked me if Denny Avdia would be a good player on the Wizards, I would have told you 100, if off the Wizards, I would have told you 100% he is.
I would have maybe agree with you, but not as good as he has been. Could you have ever imagined he'd be this good? I couldn't.
Denny Avdia? Okay, so you know how high I am in Scotty Barnes?
Yeah.
I used to say Denny was the closest thing to Scotty in the NBA. That was my legit assessment of Denny Avdia when the Wizards traded for him. I wanted to trade Siakam for a package of, I think it was Denny Avdia and Kristaps Porzingis at the time. I was like, yeah, this would be a great trade for Siakam. I would love to go back to think about those shows, all those shows where, we talked about trading Siakam for X, Y, Z, whatever, and just like crazy.
Instead, we traded him for Bruce Brown and what else?
Well, I mean, actually, we traded him for Jacoby Walter, Ochai Agbaji, and Brandon Ingram. So all's well that ends well. I also know that a lot of people are going to look at this team tanking, the Indiana Pacers, and they're going to be like, if they get AJ DeBonsa, they're going to be like, oh, we can't believe we traded Brandon Ingram for AJ DeBonsa. Let me just get ahead of that by telling y'all, if they don't have their pick, they're not tanking. So
speaking of the Pacers, Rob,
Mhm.
I don't mean to shift gears and go back and beat a dead horse, but earlier today I was talking to one of my friends about potential trade. I know people in the chat might get triggered, but look, man, I was thinking about the video you made a few days ago. That Pacers trade is really at the forefront of my mind. I keep thinking about it. I'm like Isaiah Jackson, Andrew Nembhard, Pascal Siakam, bro. That would put us in such crazy territory, man. I don't know. Like I can't get it out of my head now. I can't stop thinking about that trade. I really want it to happen.
It is an interesting trade, precisely because we saw what happened in the last game. Nembhard and Siakam destroyed us. They were the best two players on the court. They were better than Ingram, Scotty, everybody. Not as overall talents, but in terms of how they played. They played the best games, in my opinion. Like, they did the most, and they had a lot of G League level talent around them. So the question then becomes is like, what do they do if they were on your team? And it's just like, I cannot help but think they would do even better in a Darko system. So yes, it is an interesting deal. And now that Lauri Markkanen continues to go off and off and off, like, it's becoming increasingly impossible, it feels, to trade for him, given the summer that he had. So it's just, yeah. But I don't know, man. It's I think we're losing a lot of people at this point, with this, because the Raptors keep winning, obviously.
Yeah.
And we're 9-5, and I think there's still a person out there who's just like cannot get over the fact they're like, how can this show talk about trading anybody when we are 9-5?
You got to get better, man. You got to get better. What have you proven yet? You're 9-5, 14 games into the year. Congratulations.
Right. Did the Blue Jays add Shane Bieber at the deadline?
Yes.
Yep.
Were they a good team already?
Yes.
Okay.
First in the AL East.
I never thought my Blue Jays knowledge would come in handy this quickly, but it has. So salute to me for remembering that random fact. But yes, like the point here is, the Raptors added Marc Gasol at the deadline when they were like a 40-18 team. Like, of course,
I almost
you can
crashed.
always get better.
I almost crashed out when they did that because they were talking about a Kyle Lowry and Valanciunas swap for Mike Conley and Gasol, and I was like, if these mother effers trade Kyle Lowry, if they trade Kyle Lowry, I'm going to crash the hell out. And then they ended up trading Lowry, but it was okay. But I remember those reports at the time. Sorry, it's just severe PTSD from that day.
They did try to make that trade. So we tried to trade Kyle Lowry in the middle of a championship season. And oh my God, how different NBA history might be.
Mike Conley does not do what Kyle did in Game 7, and I'm an Ohio State guy. You know how much I love my Buckeyes. And I mean, oh my God, you swap Mike Conley for Kyle Lowry, we probably get second rounded by the Sixers. With all due respect to Mike Conley.
Yeah, I could see that. Jarrett Osei saying this team is flawed, man. We got to be proactive. Absolutely. Look, you have $6 million of dead salary on your books right now. I like to call him Ochai Abaji. He has been in street codes the last couple of games. You haven't really missed a beat with him. You got a first round pick from last year who probably needs a dose of confidence right now. He's really struggling. You have a undrafted guy from last year that I think desperately needs minutes because Jameson Battle has been positive every time he's touched the court, and we can't find minutes for him. And as you mentioned, we keep getting obliterated by these long forwards. So, yeah, I think we need athleticism, size, and a little bit of rim protection somewhere on this
Unfortunately,
roster.
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, no one on the bench gives you any of that right
Well, there
now.
could be one person.
Colin
There
Murray
could be.
Bose.
Well, I mean, like on the bench, not playing,
Okay.
like a Ochai battle.
Jonathan Mobo.
Mobo
say,
might.
yeah.
Mobo's like, God, I hate to say this, but I feel like he's like a year. I'm not saying 2 years away. I feel like he's like a year away. I feel like he needs a
Is
year.
he a
to
year away, or is he a year away from being a year away?
He's just a year away. He's just a year away. I think he needs to go to the G League and just experiment the hell out of his game, be that guy, because in the NBA, like even when, and you know this, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but like even when you're the ninth guy off the bench, like you still have to be able to get yours. Like you cannot be a net negative on the court. Like that's my issue with Jacoby Walter right now. Like his defense is keeping him on the court, but he's a net negative, right? Because offensively he cannot put the ball in the basket. You have to be able to put the ball in the basket occasionally, right? And that's my beef there. And I think Mobo can. Like that's the thing. I think he can, but I think he's got to do. Yeah, I was not saying the Bruno thing. I was not saying the Bruno, but I feel like he can. I feel like he just needs a little more experience. And like I talked about last live, like 4 years ago, this guy was playing NAIA basketball. Okay, like he has not played high level basketball his whole life. Let him develop in the G League. This probably the second most athletic basketball league, in the world. Athletic, not talented, but athletic in the world, right? Let him earn his stripes down there. Get him ready for next year. Because I feel like keeping him up here to give him 5 minutes a game is going to do not shit for him.
Okay.
I was gonna say also, I personally, I'm still a believer in Jacoby Walters' talent level and him getting better. The problem is, like Rob alluded to, there's just roster spots taken up by guys who are just not bringing anything right now. And even though Grady had a pretty good game, I rather see the minutes go to Jacoby or Jameson Battle. I like those two guys over. And you know what's crazy? I used to be super bullish on Grady Dick, but I'm sorry. I always revert back to better two-way players. And Jameson Battle's not a great defender, but I like him. He's a better defender than Grady Dick for sure. And Jacoby Walter is an excellent. He's a pretty good defender. I like him a lot. And I think his confidence is in the toilet right now. He is really down on himself. So that kid needs more touches, man. He needs more high volume, the green light. He needs that. I think he needs those minutes in confidence coming off the bench. And I think Jameson Battle is like a secret weapon that's on the bench for us. I like. I don't know if you guys seen Jonathan Mobo's gameplay in the 905, but he's been playing really well. Like I like what I'm seeing from him. Chucky is really good. That kid is Chucky's a really good young point guard. I think he's got a bright future in this league. But yeah, I think we have some good players on our bench that just need an opportunity. They're just waiting, you know. And Jacoby, he's got a really, I don't know. I don't know if it's a confidence issue. I don't know what's going on there, but I just think the organization needs to make a decision between him and Grady. Personally, I think Ochai for sure has to go, 100%. But him and Grady is like they play similar positions, but two very different roles, and they have different games, and both want to be volume shooters on this team. So I don't know. I feel they can't coexist. Personally, I don't know.
I mean, do you mind if I respond to that?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, my kind of 2 cents for Grady is that even on his worst days, he's not scared for the next shot. On Jacoby's worst days, you'll watch him pump fake and pass up open looks. Right, it messes up your flow of the offense. Another thing about Grady, and I like that you pointed it out, AG, is he is a different player because he's probably, other than Scotty and RJ, your third most consistent player in terms of paint touches. Not that they're necessarily efficient, but he does make the defense scramble. He makes guys move and he generates open looks. He's also a very smart player. Right. I feel like Grady 90% of the time makes the right play. It might not always end up good, but he's making the right play. Right. I feel like expectations on him kind of get washed from time to time just because, like, yes, he did start last year, and yes, he was a lottery pick, but like end of the lottery, right? And he started on a team that had absolutely zero aspirations, right? If Grady Dick is your seventh or eighth man, in the rotation, your third, fourth guy off the bench, like you're in a good spot, right? The consistency will come, the shot making will come. My issue with him is the defense, right?
It's a
However,
big issue too, bro. It's a big issue.
it is, but Kevin Durant said something recently that really resonates with me, which is like, who gives a shit about defense if you can't put the ball in the hoop? We can get people out here to squat, right? And it's like, he's not wrong, right? You can't have a net negative player on the court when, and this is not dissing Scotty, but when Scotty is not he's your first option, but your first option is not a score first player. You need guys that are going to be willing to put the ball in the basket around your first option, who is not a score first type of player, right? Scotty can get a bucket anytime he wants to, probably, but that's just not his MO, right? That's why Grady and Scotty work out so well together when they're on the court, because Grady's not afraid to take the shot, right? And Scotty's not afraid to make the pass. That's why I would be interested to see what the analytics say, but that's why Jacoby and Scotty, to me, feels like don't work when they're on the court together, because Jacoby's timid as hell. And I mean, that's just the eye test. Like, I'd be interested to see what the analytics say, but I'm sure it supports it.
They don't have great synergy together, but that's because Jacoby doesn't have great synergy with anybody right now. He just loses his minutes all the time. Like every single time he comes in, it's like a 5-0 run. Okay, I'm gonna play RJ or. Okay, and this is just basically asking both of you quickly, who would you rather start at small forward, RJ or the player that I'm bringing up? Okay,
Cool.
it's going to be a
Cool.
pretty long list of players, but I just wanted to present this. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander,
RJ.
Luka Doncic.
Luka.
Okay, Donovan Mitchell,
D. Mitch.
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butt.
Jimmy.
Okay, don't consider contract, just consider player fit. James Harden.
Harden. Right now, Harden.
Scotty Barnes. Well, you can't clone himself, so we can leave
Yeah.
him alone. Jalen Johnson.
Jalen.
J-Dub.
Jalen Williams.
Jalen.
Okay, both Jalen's. Mikal Bridges.
That's a little.
On this team, on the Raptors specifically, or like just in general?
Yeah, on the Raptors.
Oh yeah, Mikal. Yeah,
Mikal then. Yeah.
Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cade Cunningham.
Cade
for sure. Yeah.
Jaylen Brown.
Jalen.
That's the third Jalen. Denny Avdia.
Definitely Denny.
Yeah, Denny.
Derek White.
Derek White.
Derek
Yep.
White.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
Franz Wagner.
Franz.
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we get into slightly more controversial territory. Tyler Hero.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Of course. Norman Powell.
Norm. Holy shit, Norm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, what a miss.
Devin Booker,
D-Book.
Cedric Howard.
I haven't seen enough yet, but I like the kid. So I don't want to say him
I'm
over
taking Cedric. I'm taking Cedric.
Jamal Murray,
Jamal.
Yeah, Jamal. He's just,
Jaime Jaquez.
RJ.
yeah, I take
He's having a
RJ.
hell of a season, but we've seen how those Heats one and done seasons go over time. Like Kendrick Nunn or RJ Barrett, you tell me.
Okay. Michael Porter Jr.
MPJ.
Mm-hmm.
He fits a need.
OG Anunoby.
OG for sure.
Come on now.
That's no brainer.
Tristan Da Silva.
Not for me.
Ooh, Tristan, because of the need. Like, I think RJ's the better basketball player, but I think Tristan fits the need of this team better. So, like, if the answer is talent, RJ. If the answer is fit, Tristan.
The answer is, who would you rather have as a starting small forward for this team?
Tristan.
AG?
I'm gonna go RJ because I don't know his game much. I'll be honest.
Okay. Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi.
AJ Mitchell.
That's a tough one.
I'm gonna go RJ. I think the paint, the rim pressure really gets me over the top there with AJ Mitchell.
Who's the better shooter?
AJ. By far. Honestly, yeah. AJ's.
I'll take AJ, a better shooter.
I think AJ is the better shooter. I think he's the better athlete, and he's a better defender. Ryan Rollins. Again, he would slot in at the 2 in this case for RJ.
Yeah, Rollins is something else. That kid's different.
Yeah.
Okay, like Joe and Suggs.
RJ.
Over Suggs?
I don't know.
Not at the 2. I don't like Suggs at the 2. I don't want to. If we get Suggs, he needs to play point and quickly needs to play 2. So I guess we could.
Okay, so basically, he would be replacing quickly would replace RJ.
Yeah,
so Suggs.
I'll take Suggs then. You convince me.
Yeah, he's such a great defender. I'll take Suggs.
Dante DiVincenzo.
Oh, give me
RJ.
Okay. So far, RJ has cleared Jaime Jaquez and Dante DiVincenzo. Harrison Barnes.
RJ for me.
Okay, we're gonna leave that one as a. I'm the tiebreaker between you two, and I actually would pick RJ as well. Jeremy Grant.
RJ. I'm not a big Jeremy Grant fan.
RJ because of mentality.
Okay, I get outvoted there. Okay, cool. Trey Murphy III.
Trey Murphy.
Okay. Asar Thompson.
Oh, Asar, 100%.
Okay. Clayson Wallace.
RJ. I like Kaysen though. Kaysen's good. Kaysen's very good.
I'm gonna go Kaysen.
I like Kaysen. He's one of my favorite young players.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kaysen too. So you get outvoted there. So you get a little taste of what it felt like to be me with yeah. Okay. Keldon Johnson.
RJ.
I like Keldon Johnson. He's a better fit here, personally. I think he's a better fit.
I take Keldon too. Moses Moody.
RJ.
Oh, RJ. Yeah.
Okay.
Moses is really good though. He's really good.
Jaden McDaniels.
Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah, Jaden easy. Yeah.
This is a little controversial, and Layne, you'll know more because he plays for your Cleveland Cavaliers. Jalen Tyson.
Dude, I watched that kid play. Spot up 3-point shooter, good defense, tenacious.
He's what we need, man. Oh man.
You put him at the 2. The issue with him though, is it sustainable? like a lot of these guys where I said that they're better than RJ, it's because they're better right now. Like, is it sustainable over seasons on end? Like, I'm comparing 3 years of RJ to like 15 games of one guy, right? This year, Tyson.
Okay.
But I mean, not fair to him because he hasn't been in the NBA this is his second year, so I'm gonna go Tyson, but
yeah. Alex Caruso.
Oh, give me Alex.
Oh my God, Caruso.
Amen Thompson.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's just a better. Yeah.
Max Christie.
RJ.
Josh Minot.
RJ. Respectfully, I like Minot. Respect Minot, but RJ.
Still RJ.
Okay, cool. Vit Krejci.
RJ.
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
He's been hot for like 2 games before that. He was a brick machine.
Okay. Keontae George.
Keontae.
RJ. I'll take RJ. I know I'm
Okay.
gonna be in the minority there, but it's okay.
You take RJ. Okay. Josh Hart.
Man,
RJ still.
a guy who does everything right. Josh Hart.
I'll take Josh Hart too. We have rebounding concerns. We have defensive concerns. He's a better defender. He's a better rebounder. He's
He's
a
a
much
Josh-
worse shooter.
If Josh Hart's your point of attack defender, I like our odds.
He's a utility player. He just does everything. It's good.
Derek Jones Jr.
RJ.
RJ.
Okay. Najee Marshall.
RJ. I like Najee though, but RJ.
Really? Okay. What about you, AG?
I'll take
Najee
RJ.
Marshall. Okay. Dyson Daniels.
Dyson, 100%. This
Yeah, me
best
too.
wing
For
defender.
this team, Dyson. Who's more
Yeah.
talented? RJ.
Brandon
But
Ingram.
BI.
Yeah.
Obviously.
mhm.
Okay. Cool. Zach Levine.
RJ.
RJ.
I'm not a big fan
Really?
of
We can't
yeah.
have, you can't
Yeah.
have like if Brandon Ingram wasn't on this team, Levine, but you can't have BI and Levine on this team because
Yeah.
Levine gets redundant with BI.
How?
They
Totally
both
different players, man.
somewhat totally different players, but have we seen Levine off ball once in his career? Have we seen Levine?
Yes.
I mean, when?
Literally what he's doing right now. Isn't he off ball? He's very off ball. He was if you're talking on ball, he was on ball in Minnesota. But he was off ball, playing off of DeMar, playing off Alonzo. Like he's had
What
You know what?
percentage? What
You know what,
percentage
Rob?
buckets are assisted like that he gets? I guarantee you it's below 60%.
okay, but like I mean, he's also a really okay, who would you rather
Well,
put
they
the
don't have
ball
good.
in with game on the line, him or Quickly?
They don't have good playmakers out there.
That's a different conversation, though. I mean, I agree with you. It's a different conversation. I just think I will take what RJ gives me every night versus what Levine gives me every night. Levine is the epitome of confidence. If he is 5 for 20, you best believe he's going to take that next shot.
So
You know what?
just to give you perspective, 68% of his field goals are assisted. 79% of his
Are
threes
they
are
really?
assisted.
Are they
Yes.
really? I changed my mind. I saw facts. I changed my mind. Give me Levine.
There you go.
And let me say one thing real quick. So yeah, I just thought about his fit with Scotty. I'll take Levine as well. I think a 3-point shooter like that with Scotty, who's athletic, who can get to the rim. Yeah, that's just a better fit overall with Scotty and BI.
What about Quentin Grimes?
RJ still, even though Quinn Grimes is. Now I'm starting to get a bit. Now I'm starting to look at the fit.
Defense, rim pressure, shooting.
Yeah, Grimes. I'll take Grimes.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen Grimes fold multiple times in his career. Like, I'm not fooled by half a tanking season. Give me RJ.
Okay. I guess I'm the tiebreaker. I pick RJ as well, but I do acknowledge that Grimes would provide a little bit more defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I take RJ, then he stays on. Aaron Wiggins.
RJ.
Really, y'all really don't respect these OKC guys, man.
I do,
Okay.
but I think Shea kind of clouds my vision a little bit just because of how great he is. If that makes
sense. Jamison Battle.
RJ.
Okay.
I can't disrespect RJ.
Brandon Pajemski.
RJ.
RJ.
Okay. Yeah. DeAndre Hunter.
RJ. Respectfully, RJ.
Really?
Yes.
Yep.
Hunter doesn't do much for me other than put the ball in the rim. He's an okay defender, but he struggles guarding his position and up. Now, if you put him on a point guard or a shooting guard, fine. He struggles with 3 and 4. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Keon Ellis.
RJ.
Damn. Give me Keon, bro. I
if you give me Keon and Malik.
Nah, AG, you can break the tie, but give me Keon, bro.
I don't
Dog defender.
Yeah, I'll take RJ over him.
Okay, Keon, bye-bye. Okay, Benedict Mathurin.
RJ.
Yeah, RJ. Yeah, for sure.
Matherin's a hell of a microwave scorer, though.
I just think he's a better player overall. Yeah.
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks. That's
RJ.
I like that type of player.
I hate Dylan Brooks, dude, but I'm going to go with Dylan Brooks as well. Just on this team, we're thinking about fit. We're talking about defense. We're talking about, no, bro, like his jump shot is so ugly. I can't watch that for like 80. Like I can't watch that for 80 games a
But
year,
he's a
bro.
D-bag, man. He's exactly what we need, bro. We need
Ugh. If we could, but does it scare you a little bit as the lone D-bag on the team that he would literally start to feel himself a little bit too much offensively and then take over the locker room and take over the offense? Like might this? No,
he's not good enough of a player to do that. And I think
he's never been a good. He just scored 30 points in back-to-back games. You know,
we've seen bad players. We've seen Dalita before come in here and try to take over our locker room. All right,
Dalita. Shout out to Dennis Schroeder. Okay, so I'm gonna say, but he's so much better defensively. I'm so torn. Okay,
think of the paint touches. Think of the paint touches, Rob.
Okay, fine. RJ. Isaiah Joe.
RJ.
Oh, RJ. Yeah.
Okay, Jabari Smith Jr.
RJ. Respectfully,
Jabari
RJ. I
Smith.
like Jabari though. I like Jabari a lot, but RJ.
You're taking RJ over Jabari Smith.
Okay, what's he shooting for 3 this year? I'll change my mind if I'm presented with information.
Okay, I will present you with. I can tell you for sure he's not having a great season, but he's shooting 37% from 3.
All right, and he gets to play the 4, bump Scotty to the.
They don't have a point guard out
yeah.
there.
Give me Jabari.
So I don't blame him.
Give me Jabari.
Okay, Jabari Smith is out. Ryan Dunn.
RJ.
Okay, Rui Hachimura.
RJ. Man.
Yeah, RJ.
We are getting into disrespectful territory. Kelly Oubre Jr.
RJ.
Nah, RJ for sure.
Sadiq Bey.
RJ.
Okay. Peyton Watson.
RJ.
Still. Yeah.
Jalen Green.
RJ.
Jalen Green.
For real? I take Jalen Green. Keyshawn George.
Is he good because he's good, or is he good because he gets a lot of shots and a free offense?
He's good because he's good.
Okay, Keyshawn George.
He's good because he's good.
You convinced me.
DeMar DeFrozen.
No.
Oh, come on now.
DeMar DeRozan.
Give me RJ. Give me RJ.
What about you, AG?
Definitely not. I'll take RJ.
I'll take RJ as well. Shout out to DeMar. Andrew Nembhard.
Andrew Nembhard. Easy.
Andrew Nembhard.
Yeah. Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Ooh.
RJ.
He's a good fit, man.
I don't trust his shooting on a consistent basis.
I don't care. I think he's a good enough defender. Yeah. I feel you. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. But watching him run point for the last few games with Atlanta, watching them win with him, knowing that like deep down in my heart of hearts, I always suspected that he could do more with a more expanded role, and knowing that, you know what I mean? Like I have to go with Nickeil personally.
Yeah. I'll slant that way as well.
Okay, so we'll go with Nickeil. Karis LeVert.
RJ.
Okay, cool. Malik Monk.
I like him a lot. I've liked him for years.
Wash, whatever you're cool with. I'm cool with Rob.
I'm going to go Malik because I think he's a better athlete and he's a better shooter and he gets more gravity and he's a better athlete. Like he just generally, but he is an awful defender as well. So it's kind of like pushing the defense nowhere, but pushing the offense somewhere, hopefully faster, if that makes sense. Bryce Sensabaugh.
Love Bryce. RJ.
You're going RJ? You were the one who told me about Bryce Sensabaugh.
I know.
You need to watch Bryce Sensabaugh. He's amazing.
I love Bryce, right? But I'm also I'm objective. You know what I mean? Like,
got you. Okay, Bryce Sensabaugh. Pat Connaughton.
RJ.
Okay, Dylan Harper.
Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan is
clearly
amazing.
Dylan. Okay, Patrick Williams.
RJ. He gives me more. He gives me more as a player. Patrick gives you so much better defense, but RJ gives me a lot more other than just defense. Passing, paint touch, shooting. Give me RJ.
If
Okay.
Patrick is healthy, then yeah.
Mhm. Con Knipple.
Colin.
Con. He's amazing.
Good to know. Okay. Shaden Sharp.
Shaden Sharp, I'll take him.
Yeah,
take
give me
him.
Shaden.
Anthony Simons.
No way.
RJ.
RJ.
Okay. Lonzo Ball.
RJ.
RJ.
Kobe White.
I like Kobe White.
I like Kobe White too, but give me
Kobe
RJ.
White.
They've looked so much better without him. I know he played a little bit tonight, but this is the first game they've won with him back. He's kind of disrupted the offense, the flow
Did he
a little
play
bit.
tonight?
I believe so.
Hold up. Let me just double check that he actually played tonight.
If not, I mean,
He did not.
Okay,
He did not play.
Perfect. So the one game that he doesn't play since
It's Ayo DeSumo actually who played off the bench tonight and had 21 points and basically carried that second unit.
Yeah, so the one game that they win, he doesn't play. He's disrupted the flow of the offense. He's a very talented player, but I would just imagine the hell he would enact on this offense.
Mm-hmm.
So give me RJ.
Vince Williams Jr. from Memphis.
RJ.
Christian Brown.
RJ. Respectfully the Brown, but he's great. I mean, you put RJ and Jokic together, you let me know how much better RJ looks.
That's true. That's fair. He is younger, but he's not that much cheaper. And honestly, we're not talking about salaries here. He's a better defender.
Yeah.
That much we can all agree on. Which way are you leaning, AG?
I mean, the point Layne made is correct, but that's not relevant to what we're saying, right? Who's better for the Raptors? I like Christian Brown's fit on the Raptors more than RJ's, personally.
I think the defense edges me towards Christian Brown. Christian Brown was, like, I think, number one in the NBA in terms of transition points last year. So RJ and Christian Brown are actually more similar than you realize. And he has expanded his game a lot. The question mark for me would be the defensive gap between these two players. So I think I'm just going to lean Christian Brown. Zach Reese-Shea?
Mm,
I don't know if you watched him last night. Basically won them the game in the fourth. But
yeah. I
nice.
really like
Nice.
I really like Reese-Shea. Give me Reese-Shea. I'm not gonna overthink it.
Yeah, he's nice. Good player.
Okay. We are pretty much done with relevant wings in the NBA. Here are the players that y'all would take RJ over. And perhaps something to think about. We did not talk about Jonathan Kuminga at all. Would you take RJ over Jonathan Kuminga?
No.
Okay.
I don't think
Me
I would.
neither. So here are the players that y'all would, at least you guys would, at least we would, because I didn't break any ties that weren't needed, would take over RJ Barrett. And therefore, this is the range of player that we think he's in. Jaime Jaquez, Dante DiVincenzo, Harrison Barnes, Max Christie, Josh Minot, Vit Krejci, Keontae George, Derek Jones Jr., Najee Marshall, Quentin Grimes, Aaron Wiggins, Jamison Battle, DeAndre Hunter, Brandon Pajemski, Keon Ellis. I can't believe I was outvoted on that. Benedict Mathurin, Dylan Brooks, Isaiah Joe, Ryan Dunn, Rui Hachimura, Kelly Oubre, Sadiq Bey, Peyton Watson, DeMar DeRozan, Karis LeVert, Bryce Sensabaugh, Pat Connaughton, Patrick Williams, Anthony Simons, Lonzo Ball, Kobe White, Vince Williams Jr., and that's it. So those are like the more prominent guys. Of course, we didn't talk about, the absolute depths of, roster rotations. Didn't talk about Svi Mihailuk because I just don't think that it's worth talking about those. I'm assuming those are guys that you would take. So he's probably, in terms of a fit next to IQ and Scotty, because Scotty's playing a little bit out of position, whatever. Ingram, you really could put a 2, a 3, or a 4 into the starting lineup with these guys, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it leaves a lot of room. Like, Jeremy Grant is a 3-4. Denny Avdia could fit in. There's a lot of guys who could fit in. I do think the rim pressure is important in terms of what we got Okan here as well. Okay, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. What's up, man?
Not much, not much. I watched the game during a class. I woke up, went to the class, just turned on the game, and I was like holding myself not to scream, "What the hell are these refs doing?" But yeah, I mean, at least we got a win. It's also my birthday, so it's always great to have a Raptor win in the birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you, man. And yeah, I mean, it should have been I think, game with way more gap, like between points. But yeah, it is what it is. I was actually like interested in the comparison between RJ and the other players. I actually disagree with some of the players that y'all take over RJ and y'all didn't take RJ over.
What's your biggest disagreements? Like 2 biggest disagreements. Biggest miss, biggest make.
Good question. The one was like Keon Ellis. I think he fits perfectly in the
I
Raptors team. Also Jabari Smith. I think it's an easy pick, like considering how like the play style and how easy it will make for Scotty as well, that he could just slide into small forward. And I don't know, there were a couple of players that I didn't agree with. I just don't remember the exact list right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many players because of how fluid the roster is around these 4 players. I mean, the only player in your starting lineup who's locked into a position, realistically, is Jakob Poeltl. He's a center. He can't play any other position. He's landlocked at the center. But Scotty is like capable of playing 1 through 5. Ingram is capable of playing 2 through 3. Realistically, I wouldn't want to put him at the 4.
Yeah.
IQ can play the 1 too. So realistically, we should have opened it up for power forwards like Tobias Harris, right? You could definitely talk about that. You could talk about the Tobias Harrises of the world. You could talk about double big lineups. You could talk about, guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. You can talk about, there's so many. So that's the roster flexibility argument of it, right? Like realistically, you could talk about the guy we saw today, Miles Bridges. Like you could easily talk about him. How does he fit in at the 4? Move Scotty to the 2, and then boom, that where's your roster there? Do you lose shot creation there? And we could all also talked about a rim protecting 4, like a Robert Williams. I mean, you just become very supercharged and much more defensively focused. But it's like we're seeing what the Rockets are doing, and I think the Rockets are pointing to a new trend in the NBA. They are the number 1 3-point shooting team and the least frequent 3-point shot attempt team in the league. How does that make sense? Because they're the number 1 offensive rebounding team in the NBA. They're huge. So if we play double big, what if we played Naz Reid at the 4? You see my point? You play Naz Reid at the 4, you play Ingram at the 3, you play Scotty at the 2. You replicate almost everything that they're doing in Houston.
Yeah.
Are you any worse at shot creation? You have Ingram and IQ, and Naz is a good ball handler. Scotty's a decent ball handler. Like, how is that any less? You know what I mean? Like, it's how is that any
difference would have been that Scotty will be playing like Şengün's role in this team, and Jakob will be more like, I don't know, he wouldn't be like anyone in the Rockets, but
Steven
I
Adams.
see what's from. Oh yeah, Steven Adams, that's right. Yeah, I think you're right in that manner. Like the play styles will be similar, the type of team we are.
Yeah.
I agree. Like we should have made moves for bigger size, in my opinion. But we got Mamu, which has been amazing. I love Mamu. I loved Mamu like since he went to Milwaukee. But I never thought that he was going to end up in Toronto. I'm so happy we got him.
I agree. I think he's amazing. Here's a question for y'all. I know Bam Adebayo is typically considered a center. What would Bam Adebayo look like at the 4 on this team? Not that he's available, but a lot of people have brought up Jaren Jackson. I'm curious, Bam Adebayo.
I mean, yeah, why not? One of the most versatile defenders in the league. Can make with his size as well. I mean, I think
he's been taking threes this year too. He's
hitting
like 30-34%.
He improved a lot in the 3-point shooting as well, like over the years. So he's not the best 3-point shooter, but at least he can still be used for spacing. I think Bam would fit definitely, but obviously he's not available.
How much would we give up for him?
Ooh,
a lot. He's prime time, and what I love about his game, especially, he gets better in the playoffs. Like he plays really well. He rises to the occasion. So, and like you said, he's extremely versatile. Solid from the mid range, from the top of the what do you call it? From the mid post. Really good passer. You know, I think he would be amazing on this team. But yeah, I don't know if it's like it's not. It's really hard to imagine him on this team.
Yeah, but I think it would completely flip your size equation, and you'd go from one of the smaller teams to one of the largest teams in the league immediately.
Yeah, I agree. I don't necessarily. If they were to move off of Bam, you're obviously getting him when the Miami Heat are trying to bottom out, which means you're not going to have to give up, necessarily talent, like now talent. You're going to have to give up future talent. I think the picks are the question that you would have to give up. And I think that looks like 2 unprotected first and a lightly protected first, right? I mean, look
And
what.
like 2 swaps.
And probably like 2 swaps because, I mean, look at what the Magic had to give up for Desmond Bane, right? So imagine now what you're going to have to give up for Bam.
I think it's probably a good thing in the Raptors' favor right now that that deal has backfired so mercilessly that nobody's willing to do that type of trade. So it's just almost like any star that comes up for trade now, if anyone brings up the Magic traded 4 firsts and a swap for Desmond Bane, I think you can quickly just say, okay, then go get 4 firsts and a swap for your player because you're not going to find anyone who's willing to do this type of deal right now. And again, like it's a copycat league. Okay, it is a copycat league. We saw the OKC Thunder play with pressure, win with pressure. What do we see? Everyone's trying to play with pressure now, right? We're seeing the Houston Rockets game the system by gang rebounding and playing super huge. I guarantee you, double big lineups are already on their way back. They're going to come back in big force now, and all these teams that have been stockpiling undersized power forwards are going to be sitting there wishing that they weren't. So it's just like it's interesting to try to see 2-3 years ahead and get ahead of it. It's interesting that like so many teams that are achieving success right now, like look at the Atlanta Hawks, look at the OKC Thunder. Is this not Vision 6-9? Like basically what we were trying to achieve like 5 years ago. These teams are perfecting what we tried to do. And it's interesting because I don't know if we were the actual archetype for Vision 6-9, because I actually think the real archetype for Vision 6-9 was the Golden State Warriors. But even still, like Steph, not quite 6'9", Clay, not quite 6'9", Draymond, not quite 6'9". So like where did this idea originate of like putting 4 or 5 guys with mega long arms all together but all super switchable? And it's just like, okay, like
Yeah. I agree. I think what we got wrong though was the IQ part of the game. We had 6'9" guys. We didn't have smart 6'9" guys other than Scotty.
IQ's playing great.
I disagree. IQ is not the problem. What Houston
No.
I meant high IQ.
I meant high IQ, not Emmanuel quickly.
Oh, got you. I got confused there. I thought
No,
you
my
meant Emmanuel
bad.
quickly.
My bad. No. I mean, like we had 6'9" guys without, the. I don't want to say intelligence. That's hard.
Precious Achua.
But like we just they didn't have the basketball knowledge necessarily. They had the skill, they had the talent, they didn't have the knowledge. Right? A lot of these where it's working. OKC, can you say that OKC has one net negative player in terms of IQ on their roster? No. You can't, right? Can you say Houston does? No, you can't, right? I think that's what we got wrong was we didn't have those guys. And honestly, I'd say right now we're more Vision 6'9" than we even were when we tried. Like your whole front court is 6'8" plus, with Scotty, BI, Jakob. Like that's better than what it was back then. And all 3 of those guys are extremely smart, right? Obviously, Jakob's probably not as big and burly as you like at the center position, but I mean, I would take what he is right now with his IQ over a guy that's maybe an inch or 2 taller and has 2 or 3 more inches on his vert.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, my bad though. I didn't mean Emmanuel quickly.
I was gonna be like, what the fuck did Emmanuel quickly have to do with Precious Achua not being able to dribble a basketball in transition? Like, did he tell him not to dribble the basketball in transition? Be like, yo, if you fuck this play up enough times, they're gonna have to trade for me, bro. Oh my god. No, I like the idea, the overall concept, and I think the Magic probably like a couple years, they've tried it. Like Anthony Black at the point guard, Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero,
Give
Wendell
me one.
Carter, Franz
Give me one.
Wagner. Isn't this Vision 6'9" basically? Like everyone's
Almost.
6'7" ish.
Almost.
Jalen
Yep.
Suggs the only short guy in that team, and he's 6'4". So
Mhm.
like that's pretty close. Obviously, what the Houston Rockets are doing right now with the men starting at point, that's pretty damn close too. But yeah, like I think it's a copycat league, and I think right now, offensive rebounding pace, like the teams are just trying to extend themselves everywhere. They're trying to have all the best 3-point shooters. Another team that kind of weirdly enough was like 6'9" ish is the Boston Celtics that won the championship.
Mhm.
Tatum, Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White. Again, if you look at Vision 6'9" as a height equation, it doesn't work. But if you look at Vision 6'9" as a wingspan equation, it really does. Like the Boston Celtics with Drew Holiday and Derek White, like those guys are mega, mega long players.
Agreed. That's a great way to think about it. I never thought of it that way. I think the Raptors were just in it from a pure everyone's got to be 6'9" standpoint. You saw that with the draft pick of Delano Ban, right? Like they wanted that to be their backup guard. That was never gonna work. Unfortunately, that was never gonna work. But
I mean, OG was 6'7", right?
OG,
So in your
yeah.
Vision 6'9", he was 6'7". You had Scotty, who was like 6'8". Siakam was 6'9".
God, if you
Brett-
really want Vision 6'9", bring Siakam back.
Yeah.
That's the suggestion. That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm
But
trying
I
to
will
do,
say,
man.
I will say, guys, the Raptors were the team that was the most synonymous with Vision 6'9" for like years. Obviously, Oklahoma City and teams like that perfected it pretty much. But with the whole wingspan thing, I mean, we had OG, we had Chris Boucher, Pascal, Precious, a bunch of guys, Thad Young, like you know what I mean. So we and it was
We
being
even
highlighted.
brought in Otto, the original Vision 6'9".
Exactly, and it was
Yeah.
highlighted on U.S. mainstream media, like, "Oh yeah, these are guys that are Vision 6'9". I remember seeing that all the time. So Raptors brought it to the people's attention, and then other teams just made it better.
But typically, you have to have success before you get imitators. Typically, like the Golden State or like the Phoenix Suns shot threes forever. People didn't just start imitating everything they were doing until they started winning, right? And then we're like, okay, we can do that. The egalitarian, team first mantra the San Antonio Spurs tried to do doesn't work if they don't win, right? The triangle offense, obviously, many people tried to imitate it. Probably you're not trying to imitate it if you don't win, right? So I don't know. Like I think winning invites copycats. Right now, the Indiana Pacers won a certain way by playing a certain way. The OKC Thunder are actually very close. Like these two teams are actually very close. And I think what every sane general manager kind of thought all at once was like, okay, this is the way to win in the NBA now. And I don't think necessarily that's true because the Houston Rockets don't really play like those teams and they're winning a lot. The Denver Nuggets don't play like those teams and they're winning a lot. So there are many ways to win. Anyways, guys, any final thoughts for each of you?
I'm going to bed. I got an early morning, but this was great.
Dope, man.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Have a great night, AG. Yeah. I guess my thought is, as we sit here and talk, I can't help but think about if the Magic were to fall off a cliff, and this is just a nightmare season for them. How much would it take to go get Wendell Carter out of there? Because we all talk about Daniel Gafford as the big that we want. How much would it take to go get Wendell? Because I feel like as a total package, he fits everything that you need in a big.
I might be biased. I haven't liked him since Chicago. I haven't liked him. Just not a big Wendell fan. What do you like about him? Apart from the fact that he's shooting 45% from three.
Yeah, I mean,
Or is that what you like about him?
that's 100% what I like about him, and I think that there's a lot to be desired rim protection wise, but I feel like it can't be there. I feel like it can't be there. I mean, he's played in a really good defensive system for years, and he's held his weight, right? I don't know. I feel like he allows you to play a little bit more zone off the bench, which is something I think that we need. I also think that he allows Mamu to play the four. I think he allows lineups where Jakob, he can play with the four starters and then he's the fifth guy.
Mm-hmm.
I would be interested to see what it looks like. I really would be, because if Mamu is a taste of what a stretch big looks like, imagine what a true stretch big looks like. when Mamu can play the force, Brandon Ingram's out there, Scotty's out there, and IQ's out there. Oh my god! I mean, it's Scotty's going 1-on-1 all game.
Yeah, Wendell has been on a lot of really good defensive teams. It's hard to figure out if that's correlation causation. Is he causing good defense, or is he just in the right place at the right time all the time? But yeah, for sure, that's an interesting target. I would have to think about that. All right, man.
I think he fits the system. All right, have a good night.
Good night. Oh, Ken, any final thoughts, man?
No, man. I mean, I'm just excited for the upcoming games. The season has been one of the best seasons in the past couple of years. So I just hoping that it continues like this. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Absolutely, man. Enjoy your birthday. Glad the Raptors got a win on your birthday, man.
Thank you, man.
Peace. Jay, what's up?
Hey, I just had a quick point to make on that list that you guys made. Something that we didn't really notice is like from those players that we would pick over RJ, that's kind of the value he has in the league. Wouldn't you agree?
I mean, that's subjective. It's our assessment of it. It's I'm not sure how fans across the league or GMs see him. I would estimate if the Raptors have tried to shop him for 2 years and they haven't been able to trade him, then he's heading down the same road as Gary Trent Jr. and Chris Boucher, aka other guys they tried to shop that wouldn't be traded. I don't know how high the league is on him.
He doesn't fit on a lot of teams.
That's the problem. Yeah, exactly.
So like, how much are people going to be willing to give for somebody like that? That we don't. Everybody knows why the Raptors don't want him, right? It's not the skill; it's just like the fit. And like, if he doesn't fit anywhere else, what are people going to willing to give you?
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where you're not going to give him up for nothing because again, like I think what people want you to get. Sorry, is there something wrong with your audio? I'm hearing myself, or something's up. Maybe your speaker. Anyways, yeah. So thanks for muting yourself there. Like I'm not really sure what people are expecting to get from him, but obviously you're not trying to trade him for a negative asset. You're not trying to trade him for like some sort of dead weight contract. I've heard people suggest like go trade him for Fred VanVleet's contract. Fred's not playing this year. It's like no, it's not that bad. It's just you're probably going to add something to it, and if you could get a defensive upgrade at that position, it would probably help solidify your starting lineup. And right now, you look at players like Derek White, Drew Holiday, guys like this, even of the ilk of like a Dorian Finney-Smith, and it's just like that archetype fits a hell of a lot better in terms of stabilizing that lineup.
What do you think of Herb Jones?
Love Herb Jones.
Do you think they would give him up?
Well, he doesn't make enough money, so they
would have to add. Yeah,
they would have to add players.
Do you think they'd ever add Missy with him and then some other salary filler for RJ and
still doesn't make enough money, so it would have to be something like Herb Jones plus. I don't know. I think it would have to be a lot more. I can't remember exactly what Herb makes, but I imagine it's like 14 million-ish a year right now.
14 or something.
So that's a 13 million gap. We're already over the tax, so you'd be taking another Herb Jones. So it's like 2 Herb Jones equal 1 RJ Barrett, which also is a big point of frustration right now. Is 27 to 28 million dollars of your contract is tied up in a very redundant player who is constantly suffocating your defense in a lot of ways. But it's like it's become sort of a one-track mind for some people, which is like got to trade RJ no matter what. And I'm more of the mindset of if something comes up, cool. If something doesn't come up, you ride it out. It's not like you don't have wing depth. It's not like you're not winning games. It's not like you're not finding ways around it. I just hope that Raptor fans can realize that there's a reason why your bench consistently comes in and gets you leads and why your starters always piss it away. Like there is a reason for that. And it's not because RJ is a bad player. It's because the fit of the starting lineup does not work.
Yeah, like today, there was a perfect example today, like just seeing your posts as well, just RJ going on fast breaks with 3 people on him. It's like, you can just tell his teammates, just like, you look at their body language, it's like, oh my God. Like, if we're seeing that, imagine you're playing with him and he's just like running into 3 people, just trying to get his, and it's probably just a mentality thing, but still, it's just frustrating to watch. And it's not that he's bad, but like he's forcing it because he wants to be a part of the offense, but it's not made, the team is not made for him to kind of fit in with them, if that makes sense.
Totally. And I think, he probably has a brilliant future as a sixth man, somewhere in the league. I think he could be really good at it. He has a lot of talents offensively. Pull up jump shooting is not one of them. Defense is not one of them, but paint penetration is. Free throw shooting has left a lot to be desired. I think, again, like if you're trying to close lineups with somebody, it cannot have you be a free throw liability. You cannot play clutch minutes, you know? Like we cannot have a 2-point game and we put you at the line and you miss both or you miss one. Like that's the game, Like the odds of winning with him on the court in a tight game where the other team can just foul him and dare him to go 1 for 2, and he doesn't do well in those pressure
Yeah,
situations.
in the playoffs, they will. They were hacking Yak the other day, and they would hack the shit out of RJ. Honestly,
And
if he's
Yak.
missing like that.
And Yak. So you have 2 free throw liabilities that you would have to play keep away from in close areas. So look, I'm okay with 1. You can probably avoid 1, right? But 2 is a lot, right? You consistently have issues with this. And I just feel like the minute you drafted Colin Murray Boyles, right? Like this to me is just like there was a moment where the Raptors drafted Scotty Barnes, and I remember Kendrick Perkins on the air, and he said, "Pour one out for Spicy P, because this ain't going to be a long-term fit between these two." I felt very similarly about when we drafted Colin Murray Boyles. I felt like, okay, you picked this guy 9th overall. He's obviously more of a power forward. He's obviously more of a defensive stopper. He's obviously more in the OG Anunoby archetype. If he can ever figure out how to shoot, like he's going to start on this team. And who he starts over is very obvious. So, it's interesting. It's interesting to see how he slides in for RJ in those situations and whether he can become a good enough shooter that he'll be respected.
I feel like if they could start him today, they would, but there's just so much politics behind it. Obviously, they're not going to bring him off the bench like RJ. I'm saying, and it's just like how much better. Like all these players we're talking about right now is like, okay, who would be better fit instead of RJ? You could put in Colin Murray Boyles right there, and I feel like he would fit perfectly with the starting lineup, just for defense and just smart playmaking and just like taking the right shots. Yes, he's not the best 3-point shooter, but he doesn't like make bad mistakes and take bad shots. And I feel
CMB
like he'd be
plus Scotty
perfect.
plus Yak equals very little space. Like, I don't know how much we appreciate how little space CMB can create in those situations. They're going out of their way to play CMB in place of Scotty. He's nowhere near the shooter that Scotty is, but they go out of their way to do that because very often what they'll do is they'll play CMB with Yak for like a minute and a half, and then Yak goes to the bench, and boom, here comes Sandro. And now CMB is effectively a center in terms of playing out of the post. He's playing Jokic's role, right? He's playing the Scotty role. So I'm not sure, like he and RJ, even though there is an overlap in certain skill sets, I'm not really sure if he and RJ are necessarily like a 1-for-1 swap in the starting lineup and you don't lose anything on your offense. I think CMB does a lot of good things offensively. He sets screens. That would be very useful. But his screen setting most unlocks movement shooters like Jacoby, Grady, Jameson, guys who come off your second unit. So it's just like CMB is so perfectly synergized with a stretch big like Sandro and movement shooters like Grady. He's so comfortable being that sort of hub big who can just sort of, play make out of the post. His skill sets are probably like a year and a half to 2 years away from being like guard wing adjacent because they'll work on his ball handling, they'll work on his shooting. But I don't think he's ever going to be like a great pull up shooter either. So you're, unless you're thinking, we're going to take a stretch big at the 5 and move Jakob Pertl to the bench, I'm not really sure how CMB and Scotty fit together either because, again, unlike OG Anunoby, he's not a perimeter player.
I agree. I think just like what would I would rather right now? I would rather RJ off the bench. And what other options would we have to put in the starting lineup other than CMB? I wouldn't mind Jamal Shed. I know he's small, but it kind of gives me those Fred VanVleet, Lowry vibe. Because when he comes in the game, I just feel so much better. And he's part of that bench that brings people back into the game. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. He would be a good fit, but I don't know how that would work. Like I said, politics and just RJ's just like he's a good player, but it's just you don't know what to do with him.
Fairs. Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, man, any final thoughts, Shay?
No, that's it. That's it.
Peace, man. Have a great
take
one.
care. Good
Peace.
night, man.
Good night. Okay. So, look, a little bit of a sullen note. Don't necessarily want to be trading players away or whatever. We do want to make the Raptors better. There's a lot of things that make the Raptors better. I think a commitment to playing a certain style of basketball will make the Raptors better. I think communicating better on defense will make the Raptors better. I think opting for easier, better decisions in transition will make the Raptors better. I think better body language, better focus from the coaching staff, less emotional reactivity to the refs from Scotty Barnes will make the Raptors better. There are a myriad of things that can make the Raptors better. An assertive Scotty Barnes would make the Raptors better. A more free flowing and less predetermined Brandon Ingram would make the Raptors better. An assertive Jacoby Walter could make the Raptors better. I think Jacoby has unique skills, but he needs to be more disciplined with his fouls. He made a really, really dumb play on the basketball today where he ends up putting I think it was Colin Sexton at the line, and it was just like, you had no chance at that. Why are we fouling? You need to know the foul situation. You need to know if you're in the bonus. So, like I think the Raptors have a lot of clutter right now. I think everyone can see that. There's a lot of clutter in the wings, and clutter sometimes can be a result of a lack of decision making. You have not made a lot of decisions on your roster. You continue to draft for fit. You continue not draft for fit, but rather talent. Okay, now take stock of your talent. Take a look at Jacoby. Take a look at Ochai. Take a look at Grady, Jameson, and all these guys, RJ, and take a look. You have a very wing-heavy roster with a lot of wings who can't guard bigs. And you have a star, you have two stars, by the way, who are both wings, who shouldn't be guarding bigs, who have to guard bigs because your other wings can't guard bigs. This is my takeaway message and my parting message to you. And a thank you to sticking around on this live for 2 hours and 57 minutes as I get this off my chest. Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram are the two most important players on this roster, bar none. Barring them, it's Jakob and IQ, and then beyond that, it's RJ, Grady, and things like that. Okay, so we can move forward with that. The point here is, if you want to maximize RJ and Scotty, BI and Scotty on the offensive end, it matters to me that they don't have to be the ones to crash the glass, that they don't have to be the ones to box out every single possession, that they don't have to be the ones doing all the dirty work. And look, the participation in defense versus carrying of defense is two separate things. Both of these guys have had a slew of injuries over the last couple of years. Banging with Ryan Cockbrenner, having to guard Joel Embiid. Is this really what you want of your 6'9" max players? 6'8" max players? This is what you want to do? Because all the other wings that you put on the roster are too vertically challenged and too small to do anything? Well, that's a failure of roster construction. Maybe you should have drafted an Adu Thiero. Maybe you should have made a trade for a Denny Avdia. Maybe you should have traded for a Jeremy Grant, or frankly, anybody taller than 6'8" who could do something about this. But you didn't. Okay. Now, CMB is a good step in the right direction. I think he is a good step in the right direction. Mamu is a wing adjacent big who is also a good step in the right direction. Congratulations. You're moving in the right direction. Now trade some of these miniature guards who cannot guard a single small forward, a single power forward, and a single center, and trade them for some beefier, sturdier wings. Go out and get some size, some length, some shooting, some role player stuff. Go out and go get a Josh Hart. I'm not saying he's available. Go out and go get a Jonathan Kuminga. Not that I'm saying I'm a fan of Jonathan Kuminga, but Jonathan Kuminga is the type of player who is big enough and large enough to be able to guard those types of wings that, frankly, you're burning your two best players on. And look, Brandon Ingram is shooting a career worst from three. Am I surprised? He's playing defense for the first time in his life. I'm not even being facetious about that. Brandon Ingram is not a good defender. Brandon Ingram has never been a good defender. And right now, Brandon Ingram has been a passable defender. So yeah, I think he's really trying. He's really trying, and he deserves a lot of credit for it. You know, he's grabbing rebounds, he's boxing out, he's tipping passes away, he's trying to block shots, he's trying to do everything. You know, and it's like, shout outs to BI. Nothing that I said today about BI's good game or bad game, the conversation we had with Daryl, is any of that an indictment of BI's effort or his approach to the game. His approach to the game is wonderful. He's trying to do the right things. He's a little bit predetermined and a little bit, the ball gets a little sticky in his hands once in a while, but that's also a function of, just the team around him, the roster around him, the fit of stuff around him. So again, like, he's often struggled to fit in lineups with Zion. So, I'm not surprised that he would struggle to. He just likes to have the ball in his hands, and I wish that he would do a little bit more of the playmaking stuff when he has the ball in his hands, and I wish that he would make more threes when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. But it's like, I can't argue with the fact that very occasionally and very often in a cross match and transition, he ends up having to bang with someone who is 30 pounds heavier than him, right? So it's just about protecting your long-term assets. Having a Tamani Kamara, having a Herb Jones or someone like that just simply takes the burden of having to guard the best player every single night off of Scotty. You know, do you really want Scotty Barnes having to guard Lamelo Ball on the perimeter because Emmanuel quickly is just getting bullied into the post? I told y'all, like, people are going to complain about Scotty having, like, look at the game Lamelo had. You don't think Scotty had a large part to do with that? Go watch the film. Go watch the game. Go watch it on DVR. Of course, Scotty had a large part to do with Lamelo Ball. When Quickly and Shed were on him, he was just bullying them. He's 6'7". He's really strong. When Scotty got onto him, I don't think he scored more than 2 baskets for the rest of the game. So it was a huge part, but that defensive burden is going to take its toll. And it's like, that's what I expect from a role player. Okay, that's what I expect from a role player. There's something else I expect from star players. And frankly, star players become star players because role players do role player shit. And right now we have role players who think they're star players, prima donnas who don't box out, don't run in transition, go, call their own number 3-on-1 in transition. And to me, it's just a pecking order thing. It doesn't matter if it works. It doesn't matter if you win 12 games in a row. It's still going to be a persistent problem in your rotation. Look, I could have told you, if you talked to me in 2014, I could have told you DeMar DeRozan was a shit defender, that it was going to cost you every single year until you changed it. I could have told you Jonas Valanciunas was limited in his ability to move his feet. Now, I had a lot more hope that Jonas would adapt, grow, but he didn't. And year over year, we got to see Jonas and DeMar get destroyed in the playoffs. So eventually you trade them and you win a championship the first year you do it, right? It's just these simple things. Were you winning 59 games with DeMar DeRozan? Yes. Did you lose when it mattered every single year because of DeMar DeRozan? In large part, yes. People mischaracterize that as it was LeBron. It was not LeBron. It was the fact that you had a small forward shooting guard adjacent player who couldn't guard the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and very often got stuck on 4s and very often got mismatch hunted all game long. Go back and watch some of those playoff games. He gets hunted on like every second possession. And it's easy offense. Right? So even when you put Pascal, even when you put OG, even you put Serge around him, so much defensive help around him, you couldn't mask up the fact that you had this one hole defensively, and then you have Jonas there, and that's a second hole defensively. 2 holes, too many. I think the Raptors have 2-3 holes in their upper rotation right now. They don't have enough backline help to protect it. So I hope that the Raptors will, internally recalibrate this situation, realize that they have something to go for here. I think a lot of people are starting to talk about this team being really good. If I'm not mistaken, I think Ron just hit me up that we're going to be talking about the Raptors on the panel tomorrow. What? Hold on. Let me just see this. Oh, God. Tomorrow's topics on the panel. Are the Raptors the real deal? That's the first topic. Oh my God. I'm actually going to be on a Raptors show. Oh yeah. Okay. Hit up on the panel, man. Good stuff. I guarantee you they're going to try to brush past that topic in about 10 minutes. But I will do my best to make sure we stay on it as long as humanly possible. Because yes, the Raptors are, a good team. But yes, they have holes. 2 things can be true, You can be a really smart person and do something really stupid. You could be really smart about 85 things, but be really dumb about this one thing, right? I think people don't get that. Like, I think a lot of people genuinely don't get that. I think people assume, like, if you're smart about everything. You're dumb about everything. You can be dumb about everything, but be really, really smart about cooking, right? So it's just one of those things where I think overall, this has been a beautiful season so far. We are 9-5. We're on the verge of, hitting second. If you get through Philly, and I think this team is aiming high, right? get through Philly, get your revenge game. Second time you see them, make your adjustments, right? Now you're 10-5. Now you are in a really good place to start negotiating trades. And from what I'm understanding, from what I've heard over the last couple of days, the Raptors are actually taking this very differently than the fan base. In fact, the Toronto Raptors are interpreting this 9-5 start exactly as I am. They're not interpreting it as, oh, wow, our roster is great. I think what they are interpreting it as, and this is what I've heard, from a couple people, is they're looking at this as a nice proof of concept that some of the pieces that they have in place are really, really good. And that maybe this is the type of team and the type of, star duo that they're willing to make that one big gamble on. Does that mean Anthony Davis? Could mean Anthony Davis. Imagine Anthony Davis. So, again, there is a complacent, type of person in this world, but I will remind you, the Raptors were a perennial 50-plus win team. Masai Ujiri did not want to make a trade and wanted to give DeMar one more chance. It was Bobby Webster. It's Bobby Webster who pushed that deal through. It's Bobby Webster. It's Masai Ujiri who was crying, dreading calling DeMar. It was Bobby Webster who carefully, with his friend in the Spurs front office, orchestrated that deal, re-picked up that deal, and ultimately Masai said yes, because Masai is not an idiot, and Kawhi is that good. But you have to understand that between two people, there's always one person who wants it a little bit more. And maybe it's a good sign that he decided that, as the general manager of a 50-plus win perennial team that was selling out arenas, going to the playoffs every single year, there was a very easy narrative for the Raptors to sell themselves on this idea that, hey, no more LeBron. The same idea that DeMar DeRozan has been towing to every single podcast. No more DeMar, right? Sorry, no more LeBron. We were going to make it. So, but instead, after disappointing losses, despite being a 50-plus win team every single year, they fire their head coach. They trade their starting center. They trade their starting shooting guard. So, please, God, no. Sabonis and Marc Gasol should never be put in the same sentence ever. Totally different types of players. The only thing that unites them is that they are European in origin and that they are both decent passers. I think if I'm being honest, I think Marc Gasol is a much better passer. I think he's a better defender. He's bigger. He just makes such a difference. Marc Gasol is a fantastic example of the box score does not tell the story. Danny Green is a fantastic example of the box score doesn't tell the story. You notice that? You have like one player. Hey, in fairness, Scotty Barnes and Jakob Poeltl are fantastic examples of the box score doesn't tell the story type of players. I just think you need one more. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Shout outs to this community for rocking with us until 1:25 in the morning. Thank you to all our callers. Thank you to our new member. Shout outs to our new member, which is Casser. And shout outs to Johnny A for the super chat, the homie Nick for the super chat, Raps 416 for the members chat, Daryl for the members chat and for calling in, and Jay for asking this question. Does RJ for PJ Washington work contract wise? I did not get around to the super chat, so I will answer this right now in the dead of the night. I apologize. No, it doesn't. It does not. Sorry, I'm trying not to sneeze right now. It's like my mind knew that I was about to step off and it was like, we can finally sneeze. No, it does not work from a contract perspective. I believe PJ Washington makes like $16 million, if I'm not mistaken, 15 to 14 to 16. So if you ever want to play around with it, you can definitely go to ESPN Trade Machine or Fanspo Trade Machine and try to work it out yourself. I feel hopefully now that Shannon is not, in the comments, that these conversations can veer into more productive discussions than should RJ stay, should RJ not stay. This offseason, I was pretty, convinced that he should go. but then there was an optimism that if he can improve defensively and he can really fit in. And while he did fit in offensively to start the season, I think the defense has been poor pretty much the entire way through. There have been very, very rare glimpses where the defense has looked good. And for the most part, it has looked pretty poor. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with RJ Barrett. It's just like, it's just tough. It's tough for me to sell myself on the idea that this is going to get a hell of a lot better for the Raptors and, stiffer competition, et cetera, contract extension looming. So, yeah. But I think the caller, I can't remember who said it, but just who said there aren't a lot of teams that can trade for him or would want to trade for him. I think that's true. Because unlike Jonathan Kuminga, he does not present you with the explosive athletic pop of the raw potential. We're going to unlock it. There is a sort of feeling around RJ Barrett, I think, for a lot of people, which is this is who he is, and who he is average. So I think at $28 million, this is not an easy player to trade without giving up stuff to get off of it. I think at $15 million, this would be a much easier contract to trade. And I think, if I'm being honest, like if I had to guess, and again, I was famously wrong on Fred VanVleet's contract. Although I was right that he would go to Houston, I was wrong in terms of what Houston would offer him. I thought he'd be lucky to get 25 million, and then he ended up getting 42. So, and last year I said Davion Mitchell, he's going to get a minimum contract, and then everyone said he's not everyone, but Samson Folk, and I think Louis Zatzman said he could get 10, and then he ends up getting 12. So, okay, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe RJ Barrett can get 18 to 20 million somewhere. I'm not sure where that place is. Could be Sacramento, maybe. But can you imagine an offense with RJ Barrett, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine? Can you imagine a defense with those three players? That would be horrendous. Rich saying, we'll have to let him walk at this point and hope Jacoby or one of our 2026 picks has taken a leap. Well, we're seeing rookies pop off early this season. I think it's fair to say that Cedric Coward, Con Knipple, like these guys, these are rookies. These are young rookies. These are not 24-year-old rookies like Nick Clifford. These are actual rookies. So, the Raptors have to find an immediate contributor at some point. CMB, there's project elements to it. Jacoby Walter, project elements to it. Grady Dick, project elements to him. He has to develop his skill, develop his body. We've taken on a ton of projects. Really, we have. All these guys, to some extent or another, are projects. Ulrich was the ultimate project. Jacoby is project adjacent. Jonathan Mobo is a project. Jamal Shed is a work in progress, not a project, but definitely a work in progress. Not a ready jump shooter, not a ready paint finisher, but at least cerebral enough to contribute. Colin Murray-Boyle's another player who has project elements, but is, capable of at least contributing defensively. And then you have Grady, as I said, like Darko Rajakovic said when he saw Grady, he's like, he has the body of a 16-year-old. Okay, cool. So this again comes down to you have roster spots devoted to guys who are pretty much just trying to learn how to play NBA basketball. And then you have a guy like Con Knipple come out, or, Cedric Coward or Derek Queen, and they don't look like rookies at all. So maybe next year the Raptors could look into, at least picking up one of those guys. It helps. It helps a lot. Jamison Battle came in ready to go. He looked ready to go in Summer League last year. So Summer Low saying you can only trade RJ when he becomes an expiring contract at this point. Don't know if that's entirely true, but I think it sounds true. Yeah. I mean, a $29 million expiring contract. Typically, expirings are traded for longer term deals, long-term money. At that point, it's like, what are you really trading for? 2 years left on Jeremy Grant's contract, 1 year left on Tobias Harris' contract. Like, what are we doing here? RJ has a higher effective field goal percentage than Scotty or BI. Let's not slander RJ like that. Yes, not the best defender, but still a productive scorer. Hard to believe that he has a higher effective field goal percentage than both of those guys, but also it is largely because effective field goal percentage drastically penalizes Brandon Ingram for having cold start from three. Context also matters. the shots that these guys get are not the same. Now, RJ is doubled quite a bit when he drives to the rim, right? So, yes, you may have checked it, but have you noticed that Brandon Ingram isn't wide open on his threes and RJ Barrett very often is? Have you noticed that RJ Barrett is not doubled off the ball? Like, he is very easily allowed to float. They start doubling him when he starts crossing into the paint. Like, there has to be some context here, right? Otherwise, Sion James is a better defender than a better shooter than Con Knipple because he shoots better. Like, it's not a completely disingenuous or crazy argument, right? Like, he is open for a reason. Scotty is open for a reason too. Is Scotty Barnes a better 3-point shooter than Brandon Ingram? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Is that fair? Okay. But if you use true shooting percentage, your entire argument falls in on itself, doesn't it? And you know why that is, right? Like, I hope you do. Hold on. I will actually pull this up for you, just so everyone can see the stats that you were referring to. Here you go. So let us sort for 2-point percentage. So give you an idea of where RJ is. He's shooting 60% from 2. He is also shooting 34% from 3. In terms of effective field goal percentage, the hell is EFG here? In terms of true shooting percentage, it's 59.2 versus 59.8. And also after tonight, his true shooting percentage will be lower than Scotty's. Is that worth anything to you? No. The reason the effective field goal percentage is higher is because he's one of the highest volume 3-point shooters on this team, relative to at least Brandon Ingram and so the highest volume 3-point shooters on this team by 3-point attempt rate are Jamison Battle, Jacoby Walter, Grady Dick, Jamal Shed, Emmanuel Quickly, Ochai Abaji, Sandro Mamakashvili. But after that, it is, ironically, RJ Barrett, Colin Murray Boyles, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes. And then you get into the absolute non-shooters, which is, Mobo and Jakob Pertl. So it is interesting to think about that. Now, the effective field goal percentage you're talking about, 57% versus 55.6 versus 52.7. So why does this number exist? Well, I mean, if you want to think about it, it exists because effective field goal percentage very accurately, correctly, I think, states that a 3 is worth 1.5. It views all threes as equal. This is a problem. RJ is wide open on his threes. Him being wide open on his threes isn't actually doing you what you think it's doing you. And the reason I say that is because despite that he's wide open, he shoots 34% from 3. So if you're not going to shoot 45% on wide open shots, you being wide open doesn't actually help me. Even if you 40% is if you're completely wide open or relatively wide open, I think I need you to shoot around 40%. Because again, there is a compromise here. One, you're open for a reason. Number two, you being open at 3 means your defender gets to sag into Brandon Ingram's passing angles and driving angles and Scotty's rolling angles. And this is the point that I think people are not understanding. People look at it as a war on RJ versus Ochai, but it's just like, okay, this is not about RJ versus Ochai or RJ versus Grady or RJ versus whatever. It's not that. It is a simple fact of angles. I need bigger angles for Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes. My goal is just that simple. I cannot cater my offense to my 4th or 5th best player. What part of he is open more do you not get, man? He also went through an uncharacteristically large, if you look at their careers, I think you can probably see this is pretty unsustainable. Like, do you think Scotty Barnes is 43%, 42% from 3 is going to hold? I don't think it's going to hold. Do you think Colin Murray Boyles 50% is going to hold? Like, you cannot base everything on this. Like, you have to actually look at effective field goal percentage. If you want to look at effective field goal percentage, if you want to be like that dude who's going to look at effective field goal percentage, then look at the effective field goal percentage on his career. There was a very, very efficient blip there, 60% in Toronto, but the career is still 49.6% after all the hot shooting. So it's like at this point, you play off of better players, you play in this super motion heavy egalitarian system, you're going to get the best shots of your life. How many times are you seeing RJ Barrett get transition dunks when he has nothing to do with why the Raptors are in transition? He's just getting gifted, layups, pitch aheads. That all impacts your effective field goal percentage. How often does Brandon Ingram get those opportunities? Very often not. Ingram is having to take fadeaways over two players. RJ Barrett is getting pitch aheads and wide open corner threes. This is not the same thing. They look the same to you, but they're not the same thing. And in terms of half court offense, like what it does for your half court offense, a player not being guarded is very bad for your half court offense. Very bad. Especially when that player who does not get guarded also does not guard on the other end. It's bad. Anyways, talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Please hit like on this video. I hope, pray that next game we are not talking about RJ trades and we can move on from this discussion. I would love to talk about something else like Jakob trades. No, I'm just kidding. For real though, like this is the point. Become a better team. Their expectation raises. We're no longer accepting losses against Charlotte as an inevitable thing. We no longer look at a 5-game road trip and say, we're probably going to lose 4 of those because we're on the road. We're not doing that anymore, right? So, oh my God. I agree he's not a good defender, but I don't agree he's not being guarded. He's not being guarded from 3. That I'll tell you. Like he's open a lot on threes. If Synergy is tracking him as being guarded, they are the latest contests ever. Like I've looked at every single 3 he shot this year. He is not guarded on a lot of them. If he is guarded, he's missing a lot. Okay. So I understand that we are happy that he's taking threes. These are the threes you want him to take. But whereas earlier in the season, this number was like at 47, 48%, and he was damn near at 80%, this is 70, 72% effective field goal percentage. This number is trending down. And it's trending down for a reason because he's not that level of shooter. And I think you know that, right? So we can move on from this conversation. Hopefully we just move on. But, like I feel that there's going to be a certain person out there being like, hey, man, we just won 2 straight games against the Indiana Pacers and the Charlotte Hornets. And we have spent 35% of these lives talking about trading one of the starters who won those games. Should there not be more respect? Sure. There should be a lot of respect. There should be respect to every single player put on this team, players who are burning out, players who are overworking themselves, and frankly, players who are very frustrated right now, playing in a defense that is completely taxing them and overtaxing them, having to box out for players who are not boxing out. So it's a sum of the parts thing. You have to think about the team, not your favorite player. And if Scotty has a shit game, which I don't think he had a good game today, I have to call it. If Brandon Ingram had some amazing highlights and played some great defense and got some big posters, but I don't think he played that well, I gotta call an ace and ace, right? If Jamal Shed is one of my favorite players in the league and he had a really mediocre game today, sure. And you ask yourself, Rob, how is it that 9 guys had a pretty mediocre game and the team still won? How is it the 9, 10 guys had pretty mediocre games to bad games? The other team, is pretty good according to me. We were getting jobbed by the refs and we won. Well, that's the takeaway from the night. You won a game you probably weren't supposed to win. You know who didn't win a game they weren't supposed to win tonight? The Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets lost the game they were supposed to lose. You won the game that you were supposed to lose. And I think that there is something to be very, very happy about in that. Is it lucky? Sure. 25% from 3. Don't bank on that happening too often. A lot to clean up as we head into Philly. Wednesday night should be cinema. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. Oh, Pepperjack saying no Adem Bona or Kelly Oubre for the Sixers game. MB day to day. How do we know that already? Injury reports are so wildly fluctuating, like day to day. Like they fluctuate hour to hour. So I wouldn't bet on that. If we swapped out RJ for Dort, we'd feel like we're contenders. Yeah, probably because Lou Dort shoots like 40% from three. He's not a good 3-point shooter, but he's wide open. And hey, like he shoots them, and he shoots them at a pretty decent clip. Talk to y'all later. Bye bye.